trying to figure out if your actions are legal or not? What do you think a crime is? What do you think a key element of committing a crime is? Is this the criminal state of mind?
Okay. So, Prime, please let me tag in just for a second, okay? The reason why Abdul Rahman al-Awlaki and Anwar al-Awlaki is in more gray area than you might want to concede it for is because they're United States citizens, and there's a huge argument about geography and also whether or not like assisting a terrorist organization precludes you from due process. There's actually an argument there.
That's fine, but I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
I
know, but everything you're about to say is irrelevant. But go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Let him say it. Hold on. Let him say it.
Thank you. Okay, I will. Thank you. The reason why it's irrelevant is because what you're about to give is an argument that challenges the legality of the U.S. president to assassinate, essentially, American citizens of other countries, which is a fair argument. But none of that gets you any closer to saying Obama committed murder.
Wait, hold on. Obama went to Eric Holder. Eric Holder said, "Yeah, we're probably good." That was it. And then they drone striked Anwar al-Awlaki, and they drone strike for Abdul Rahman, by the way. They were drone striking somebody else, and then they just accidentally killed a 16-year-old U.S. citizen. So like that's fine. Like for me, I don't give a sorry, Prime, I'm gonna betray you a little bit.
Right.
I don't give a fuck about Anwar al-Awlaki. I don't give a fuck about Abdul Rahman. What I'm trying to point out to you, though, is that once you open up this can of worms of, well, this admin was uniquely bad according to my perspective, therefore we're going to go after all you motherfuckers, then at that point,
is there a fact of the matter?
Not just for previous administrations, but for any future administrations.
Is there a fact of the matter that some administrations might be betraying the ideas or the laws of the U.S. Constitution more than other people, or is it all just like a whatever meme?
Of course, but one of the largest political scandals of the past 30 years is the fact that we have evidence for this. Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney knowingly exaggerated evidence in order to justify the case for the war in Iraq that resulted in hundreds of thousands of dead people, tens of thousands of American dead, $2 trillion spent. So if there's something worth investigating to see whether or not there was criminality involved in, I would say that deserves a second look.
Sure, I wouldn't disagree with you at all on that.
Yeah, of course, no, because it's a Republican administration. Yeah, no, hold on. We can all say that yes, different administrations violate the law in different ways, right? I'm saying, hey, I'll be consistent. In any way that you violate the law, right, they'll be prosecuted. That's what I'm saying. Why?
But you're drawing this equivalence. You're drawing this equivalence between.
I'm not.
Let's stack teams finish. Let's stack teams get in here. Let's stack teams get in here a second.
Whatever.
You're trying, then you can respond, Prime. I promise. Go ahead.
You're trying to point to Democratic politicians and Republican politicians like there's some sort of equivalence here, but we're talking about the Iraq War. And
I am not okay. So Stack seems to know exactly what you're going to say already. That's why I didn't bother waiting to listen.
Ahead.
No, I'm not drawing an equivalence here. I literally just said, hey, there are differences. Just now, when you jumped in, I just said, hey, there are differences in how different administrations violate the law. Right? We take that into account, and in any way that you violated the law, that's what you'll be prosecuted for. Right? So it doesn't matter. Right? So yes, in big ways in which you lied to the American people, you make up evidence, and you draw us into a massive forever war, yeah, you'll be prosecuted for that. And then smaller ways, assassinating American citizens without proper authorization, yeah, you'll be prosecuted for that too. I prosecute all of them for everything, right? So my position is
GPU's at 22%.
Past presidents to keep future presidents in line, right? Destiny was trying to sniff at that argument, right? He was pointing at that argument, but he only meant for Democrats. That's the secret thing, right? They were saying under his breath, right? So when Democrats supported genocide, well, that's okay, right? When Democrats assassinate Americans abroad, well, that's okay, right? But when a Republican comes in office, oh, okay, well, that's the thing we have to be afraid of, right? That's when the lawyers get their subpoenas out.
Yeah, but there's several degrees of
subpoenas.
There's several degrees of indirectness when it comes to Biden's involvement in Israel. Even if we're saying, even if we're saying,
let's stack teams finish, please. Let's stack teams finish.
Okay, well, we can look at Obama or Biden specifically, but Obama is in murky territory and Biden's in murky territory. But Bush and Trump, it's pretty clear cut.
Why
is Obama?
Got me working overtime.
You don't have to bring that up because I am going to prosecute them in my utopia, right?
No, but I'm justifying why I am going to be harsher towards the Republicans.
Okay, I want to draw this back. I want to draw this back to the matter at hand of what do Democrats do with MAGA once they get into power. I want to bring this back.
Are you trying to reframe it when there's a genocide going on? Wick, you fucking idiot.
Is the matter at hand, right? Hey, like, you're saying that there should be a legal process, Wick, right? You're saying we're asking, should there be a legal process to deal with the crimes of the previous administration, right? Like, should we normalize that? I say yes. I've already agreed to that. Okay, great, right? Now, like, if this is going to be a process, and if it's going to be something that is respected, right, and seen as legitimate, then you would have to do it on both sides, or else it doesn't count. Destiny says, hey, this process will get us to the capital T truth about what has happened in the past, right? It has to be a public spectacle to do that, right? Well, then part of that should be accounting for every administration.
Tell you
right?
what, when the leftists get power, you can do that. But we're talking about realistic outcomes, and we're talking about the Democrats and the Republicans. The leftists
none of this is realistic.
If the leftists ever get power, we can have
this
that.
This whole topic is not realistic. We know that. So we're already in fantasy, right? So if we're going to be in fantasy, and we're going to deal with Stephen's dumbass idea, right, of prosecuting the Republican Party all the way down to fucking dog catcher, right? We're already there. And so I'm asking for a bit of consistency. I'm trying to point out the vast hypocrisy that is Stephen's entire political platform.
Okay, if you're asking for consistency, if there's any Democrat who's lied to the UN in order to bring us to war in the Middle East, I would happily impeach them too.
True, King.
Okay, yeah, great. I would too. I don't know why.
Great, awesome.
Fucking awesome.
You keep distracting. I don't know what you're doing here, right? I already agreed to that. I agreed to that, right? I'm saying for lesser crimes that also do that too. Hold on. What is the minimum?
But you can't.
Let me ask Stack Sims here. Okay, Stack Sims, as you've been wanting to jump in and get some airtime. Stack Sims, what is the minimum the maximum amount of crime, right, that a president can do and not be charged? Democrat or Republican?
This feels like
you just got mogged.
True. I don't need to explain when specifically night turns into day to explain where day is and where night is. I know that Trump crossed the line. I don't know where the line is.
I know. Again, you keep trying to distract. One second. Hold on. You had a lot of airtime here.
Okay, I don't know. The answer is I don't know where exactly the maximum crime is.
Then I do know. Okay, great. Then I do know. I have an idea. So when I'm talking about murder, right? Yes, you've gone into the territory where you get charged, right? I've given a direct line. Nothing below murder. Okay, nothing below murder or conspiracy to commit murder, right? Nothing below that, right? So now that we've established that, great. Then I would say I would charge President Obama, right? And I would charge President Biden, right, for sending weapons to a country that his own State Department declared was committing war crimes.
I love you, buddy.
You're gonna need a piece.
But we're gonna move on. And we're going to get to back to the topic at hand.
Well, man, Steven's been a coward there. No, look at Steven sitting there being a coward because he didn't actually want to engage with it.
No, it's just the
So wait, to be clear, there's nothing to engage with. There's nothing to engage with. When we talk about chargeable crimes, we talk about people who are acting within what they believe their legal authority is. There's a difference between people acting within what they believe their legal authority is versus people who are acting with flagrant disregard for legal authority. This administration, and it's provable. This is provable. The current administration no, they don't. You can look. It's pretextual, and it's clearly pretextual. That's fine because you don't understand the law and you don't follow what they say. Okay, but they clearly say Donald Trump. They clearly say that we don't believe what the judges say. We don't think that the judges are correct on this. They're all activists. We don't care what the judge says. We're going to do whatever we want anyway. They very clearly know, or if anything, they should know that you can't just kill citizens in South America without cause, and that's a totally okay thing to do. That's plainly obvious.
I want to give it to counterpoints, hopefully to re-rail us. If he does not re-rail us, I will re-rail us forcibly and non-consensually.
I'll do it again.
I understand.
You got to put these guardrails up to the conversation.
Yeah, I will.
Because fuck you, Steven.
So reinforce them.
Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to re-rail us. I'm going to reject that this is even a possibility. If we can't impeach Trump now, if the best thing we can do is have Democrats stand up in Congress and ineffectually say, oh, I really disagree with this, If that's all we can achieve right now, we're not getting shit after Trump's gone. I think it's a waste of time. I think it inflames maybe it's a marketing strategy. Maybe this is a marketing strategy to get Democrats psyched for the midterms or some shit. If you said it was a marketing strategy, then I would be like, oh, okay, Steven's just using hyperbolic language in order to get, libtards excited for the midterms. And I'd be like, all right, fuck it. That's just what Steven's doing. But you said to take you literally and seriously. And at this point, I'm going to say literally and seriously, it's a stupid fucking idea. The Democrats cannot walk and chew gum. They need to focus on not Trump. They need to focus on the material circumstances that caused Trump, which once again, I will assert is rapid demographic change, existential technological shifts, income inequality, and the dissolution of the social fabric.
Oh, so we can't charge Trump with crimes. We just need Democrats to solve fast technological change, solve demographic issues in the United States, solve the social fabric dissolving, and then solve whatever the other fourth existential problem was. Fuck me, why didn't they just fix every single fucking issue with society? That's crazy. Why did I think of that? Fuck me, dude.
If you weren't being a twat, then you could realize that these are things that are affecting radicalism on both sides of the political binary.
Yeah, but we can agree with
there
that.
Are Republicans who are concerned about these things, who would be interested in coming up with solutions to these things.
Yeah, but I can point to a fucking.
It's supposed to be.
I can point to a crime and go, okay, but look at the poverty in the area. Look at all of these factors that go into the crime. We still prosecute individuals. Like, I don't understand this.
Yeah, but we've already acknowledged
this
that the
focus
chances of you prosecuting a criminal in this regard is a snowball's chance in hell.
Okay,
so
let me ask you a question.
I'm addressing your point one at a time.
Yeah, let me ask you a question to Destiny and to Staxiums here. If you knew that engaging in this would absolutely lead to Democrats losing in 2026 and 2028, if this running on this platform, if you had a crystal ball and you knew 100% that even advocating for what you think is right is going to fail and it's going to cost you the election, would you still do it?
No, I would not.
We knew for a fact? No, you'd probably try to find some middle ground.
Okay. So what I'm telling you is we have a lot of evidence given the past and how it turned out when we tried to do this with Trump the first time and how that, again...
But we didn't do it with Trump the first time. What do you mean?
Factor in leading to us losing.
I don't know. I don't know how you could possibly say that, but also I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean we didn't try it with Trump? We never got any federal charges.
We never got any federal charges, but not for lack of trying and not for lack of
we didn't really try. We didn't try. It was 2 years before the special counsel was appointed. We didn't try that hard.
I would agree with Stephen here, right? That we don't. Well, I would agree that there was massive Democratic incompetence, right, by Joe Biden, by Merrick Garland. Absolutely, 100%. I would agree with that, right? I would agree that if they were engaging, Stephen is trying to engage, right? Like in protection of the powerful. So they didn't actually want to charge him with anything, right? Like if they did, then they could have done it immediately, right?
Just to be clear, I don't know why I'm saying it because this is not my point.
They waited for because until it was politically, at least they thought it was politically expedient, right? They waited till the end, and it was a disaster, right? It was a disaster because they ran out of time. But yes, they were protecting the powerful. They were extremely reluctant to do that. That case, even when there was their opponent.
Hold on. Do you think if they had been successful in prosecuting Trump federally, right, and they had sent him to jail even, right? Like Trump is now in jail, okay, for all the January 6th crimes, insurrection, all these things. Do you think that Republicans would have won more or less in 2024?
Far less.
Less, yeah.
Less.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely wrong. I think this would have been.
I think he's the leader of the cult.
Feeding into their persecution narrative.
It's so crazy. Do you see how cucked your position is? That literally any time you try to hold somebody accountable, they're like, you're feeding into their narrative. So we just can't hold anybody. So what is? Wait. Then can somebody give me another thing? Then I'm not like 100% bought into this has to be the penalty, but give me what your proposed penalty is. Then what should the accountability look like for how conservatives have acted over the past 10 years?
Well, I think that. Oh, go ahead.
You go first.
Oh, sure. I'll go first. I think that they're getting their accountability. We saw last Tuesday.
Never mind. No, never mind. Do you have any real things? I'm not talking about losing election. I'm not talking about losing election.
You think politicians don't want to win? Do you think that politicians don't want to win elections?
I think they do want to win elections. Yes.
Okay, so yes. So when the disincentive is, hey, if you behave in this manner, you won't win elections.
Do you think that they're losing because they're behaving in a particular manner, or because everything is going to shit and they're failing to deliver on even the most basic parts of their agenda?
These things are correlated.
They're not.
You don't think that them behaving in the manner that they do is leading everything to go to shit?
No, I think if Trump were more competent, it would be too bad.
If Trump were more competent, no, it's
correlated with their level of corruption and malice.
You can argue that like the similar traits play into people that act, in similar ways, but it's not like Republicans are like, you know what? Abrego Garcia, that was fucked up. No, that's not happening, and that's what you need them to think. Just because things are going to shit because the president is incompetent as fuck doesn't mean that conservatives are going to look at the future and go, wow, we definitely shouldn't support an evil person again.
They're not going to think when you, again, have these trials, these Nuremberg trials for MAGA, that,
then what do you do to get them to think that way? What do you do to get them to think that way?
Why they can't have power. They're going to think that the Democrats... Oh, you're just going to leave?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. They're going to think that the Democrats are the ones who are persecuting their political enemies, and the voting base is going to vote accordingly.
So then what do you do?
Counterpoints?
Is it just lose the election? Then you have nothing. Then you can't do anything. They've insulated themselves perfectly.
Of course you. Again, there are things that you can do. But
wait! Oh my God! Hold on! I got it. I think that if they don't let us prosecute them, then that means that they're evil Hitlers. So now they have to let us prosecute them. Otherwise, Wick, you're going to be saying, well, Destiny said you guys are evil Hitlers if you guys do that thing, and now that you're doing that thing, you're proving him right. Can I just say that? All the Democratic messages should change to that, okay? There we go.
What I say has historical basis.
No, it doesn't.
Election results
no,
backing
it doesn't.
it.
What are you talking about?
Wait,
what is your basis?
Backing it.
What is your basis?
The November 4th election that just happened. Where
you think he won that election?
And the guy who had the rhetoric like you got like he performed the least well out of every single Democrat who won.
The least well? You mean the guy who was based as fuck and said he wanted his opponent's children to be killed, still won his election? King, okay? Number one. Number two, in terms of the Trump election, where's the evidence that are you implying that the New York State convictions that helped Trump, or that all the charges?
I think that helped Trump.
You think those?
No, wait, that's fine. But I just want to be clear then. The rules that Wick are writing right now, Wick is saying that presidents should always break the law because if you ever try to hold them accountable, it's going to help them win the next election. I guess that's what you're saying.
I'm saying that I would rather win than have some kind of weird. This is what I want to be justice, but not actually get those justice either. Like in order to get justice, you have to win first. So my advocacy
I agree. We have to win first.
About winning first.
Yeah, and then after
we
win,
I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you, but what if?
But when you come out and you say that, hey, if we win, we're going to
hold them accountable.
Away
Accountability.
every single you're not going to win.
Wick, we should just do it secretly.
Yeah. So Wick is saying he's fine with all of what Destiny is saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
Just as long as we lie about it, right? And then we surprise Nuremberg trials, right?
Look,
I don't know what state level crimes you would be accusing people of, that let alone that you would have sufficient evidence in order to obtain a conviction. I also still think that would avoid the insurrection issue. And once again, I'm just going to say this for like the fourth time. I think y'all got a fistful of nothing. I think you have as a matter of fact, saying Republicans, if you don't
are we live or are we memorex?
You're gay. That probably would be more effective than what you guys are advocating for. Because then the Republicans would be like, no, I'm not gay. You can prosecute Donald Trump. You can prosecute Pete Hegseth. I'm not gay. Like that would actually, that almost makes more sense than what you're saying.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, I'll do that. Sure.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, we do realize that we are all 20 to 40-year-old adults here. The thing that you're arguing
what was Connor's answer to why won't Republicans act? Why won't Republicans act even more unhinged in the future if there's no accountability for what's happening now?
Okay, but I'm asking you a different question, which is effectively like you can't get the accountability that you're looking for.
I'm gonna try. You get as close to it as possible.
Hold on, trying and failing is worse than not trying. You understand that, right?
Well, I do understand that, but we're also talking about political.
I'm asking.
That feels like a truism.
Do you understand?
Definitionally not true. You can charge. You can
not try. Correct?
No. Also, you can't let the fear of
You don't
failure
think
keep you
that's
from.
true?
You can get closer to perfect. Don't let perfection be the enemy of progress. There you go. See, I can do these two.
Okay, but
Okay,
here's the thing.
but-
the perfection that you want of prosecuting everyone who's ever done a crime for every single thing they do is the perfection that you're letting get in the way of actual progress here.
Well, sure,
So,
maybe we only convict
again,
half of them.
If you try to convict them and you try this plan and then it doesn't work, what that does is that just sends an even stronger signal that they can get away with it even if you try to fight them.
Then what if we don't charge them with
saying
anything?
that
Why wouldn't they try to do the same
Democrats shouldn't have
thing?
impeached Trump?
Again,
Are you saying that
already...
Democrats shouldn't have impeached Trump before? Because they failed.
Hold on.
That's a
I
great
think that
question, actually.
Impeaching Trump is different than what is being advocated for tonight.
Hold on, but you're saying if you
Hold
you're
on.
trying to
I'm okay with impeaching Trump, even if it doesn't work. That's different than what's being advocating here
Well,
tonight.
well,
You're
trying and
talking
failing
about-
is worse than not doing it.
Not
at
in
all.
every context.
yeah.
The context changes.
That was
calculation.
No, I know, I agree.
But
Okay?
yeah,
So
sure.
when you
hon,
try
agree
and
with that.
fail
No,
to
don't agree with
impeach
that.
someone, so if you try and fail to win an election, that's a lot different than trying and failing
Sure,
to
hon, we're
bar
talking about
25% of the Republican Party from ever running for
yeah, and I'm
office.
trying to and hey, so these are apples to apples, okay, right? Impeaching Trump, right, or putting him through these trials, right, is a legal process, well, political / legal process for impeachment, in which like a formal process in which you present evidence and you get a group of individuals to decide if it was convincing
Is he
enough
working?
to impose consequences. These are the same things, right? And they tried to do impeachment and they failed, right? And you're saying, well, that's okay. But like, if you try to do a trial, you don't have the forethought to know that if it's going to work or not, then we shouldn't bother.
I think that you can look at the evidence that you would bring against, say, Marco Rubio, and that would be far, far weaker of a slate of evidence than you would have against someone like Trump.
Obviously,
You disagree?
I don't think anyone's disagreeing.
Wait, we don't know that. We haven't seen his
Now
emails yet. We haven't gotten subpoenas yet. We haven't done an investigation.
You haven't done any of that.
Wait, then Trump
Like, we haven't
himself,
actually gone through the
obviously, it would be
process.
definitionally less, because the only piece of evidence that you would look at is that
your
he's
argument
supporting
is
Trump
that you have
more.
less evidence against Trump than Marco Rubio.
That's not. You're
No,
talking.
you're,
about Steven, right?
no, you're probably almost definitely going to have less evidence because Trump is higher up in the organization and it was handing down orders, right?
No,
But
because
that doesn't mean
Trump
that-
is the dictator. Trump is the
and
fascist.
even if you have less evidence, that doesn't mean you don't have enough evidence for a conviction, right? There might be different quality, or different crimes altogether.
Do you think that they
that
have
you might
enough
charge him
evidence
with.
to convict Marco Rubio of insurrection?
If we want to go,
I think
if we want to
no.
play, if we want to play the 14th Amendment
can
game,
decide
if we want to look at the 14th Amendment, it doesn't even require a criminal conviction. It just requires a determination that somebody is committed or engaged in or aided somebody in an insurrection, and that is enough to bar them from ever holding a future
but
office.
14th Amendment use of aid and comfort is different than the colloquial use of aid and comfort. You understand this, right? Like, it
How?
doesn't mean anyone who sent a "I hope you feel better" Trump text was comforting Trump, right? There's specific criteria that you have to meet.
No, it's aid
to
and
meet the
comfort. It's
bar
aid and
of
comfort in
aiding
them committing an insurrection.
Yeah, we know that. We all know that.
Okay, Marco Rubio participating in his government does not necessarily meet the criteria of aiding and abetting an insurrection.
Do you think that
He's a-
Hitler's second
Secretary of
vice
State?
president, vice chancellor, I don't know who it been, do you think that guy was aiding Hitler just for participating in the government? God.
As
Yeah, but
again,
sorry,
as-
I would
no,
like
hold
to
on.
jump in
As
as
Saxon
the
Connor's got
mentioned,
super triggered on that.
several of
Some
the
of them are innocent,
trial
some of them
people were found innocent.
It's stupid as
So
shit.
no, it's not necessary.
But they were put. Hold on. But they were put through a trial.
That's
right?
what I'm
You would
saying. We
say-
should put all of them
Boom.
on trial,
Boom.
but some,
Yeah, you
but
put-
some of them will be innocent, which is why I'm kind of the middle ground here. Yeah,
Yeah, you put them on trial, and then that's how we found out. They were
I
innocent,
recognize that
right?
Rubio.
If
You guys keep pointing to Rubio because he is by far the only member of the administration who is maybe even kind of disagreeing with Trump. The rest of them are fucking lock in step. And
No, I mentioned Rubio just to be clear. I'm mentioning Rubio because he's the only one with really political like gravitas in that administration. He has Fox News contributors like Pam Bondi. and
Just to be
fucking
clear,
Hank's
Rubio
dad.
has no political gravity.
Fox News contributors like Pam Bondi.
Okay, hold on. I want to point this
That's
out
hilarious.
because there's obviously a flaw in this case. You guys are saying charge them with insurrection in order to bar them from participating in politics in the future.
Sure.
My frustration with what you're saying is,
True.
as far as I know, the documented case of Donald Trump conducting insurrection or being a part of an insurrection or seditious conspiracy or whatever is January 6, 2021. Half of his administration wasn't even a part of his administration during January 6, 2021. And not only that, it's difficult to argue that them acting within their capacities as cabinet members is them aiding and abetting or providing comfort for insurrection when the person that you're charging with insurrection is not actively engaged in insurrection. So there's a fatal flaw to your case, even if we were to even entertain it, which we shouldn't.
Once an insurrectionist, always an insurrectionist. If you support him in the future and he's doing the same behavior, boom. You're still doing it.
Okay, same behavior. What's the same behavior as far as Trump is going on right now? How has he overthrown the government of the United States?
He's overthrown state governments by nationalizing the National Guards of different states without getting approval from the governors first. That's a clear violation of the law. He is trying to use the military for purposes of law enforcement. That's also usurping the states' rights there to do their own law.
Except for that's already been to court. And the court said that they're allowed to protect federal buildings. They're not allowed to engage in law enforcement activities. And as far as we know, that's what's happened.
Well, so the ruling from a D.C. court today was that he's not allowed to send the National Guard to D.C. to go do law enforcement things. I don't know. I'm sure there are TROs and states that have been challenged, but these are challenging the president's lawful authority to do a thing. I want him challenged for insurrection.
But federalizing the National Guard is not a crime.
It is if you do it in contravention. If the governors don't want it, it is.
Thank you, Stephen. I already let you psychically know my arguments earlier. I would like to finish.
Because you just started off by saying a thing that Trump didn't do, so I just wasn't sure why you were saying that thing.
I get it. You're the main character. Please shut the fuck up for 10 seconds.
Go ahead.
Federalizing the National Guard in and of itself is not a crime. Also, federalized National Guard are allowed to protect federal buildings, as is the military.
True.
That's what the courts have found.
We're not talking about either of those things, though, are we?
Yeah, you just said that a D.C. court prohibited federalized National Guard from participating in law enforcement.
Yeah, but the first example I brought up, California, was federalizing the National Guard without the consent of the governor.
You're allowed to do that.
No, you're not. You have to have the consent of the governor to do it.
You can.
No, in Trump 1, remember when Trump made a big deal about, was it the Minnesota, about the governor not asking him for help and not letting him use the National Guard or whatever? No, you need the consent of the governor. It's the state's National Guard.
I almost guarantee you. I can look it up.
Hold on.
I will look it up just for the sake of, I don't know, getting something productive out of this conversation.
During states of emergency, that can be overridden, and that's the argument.
Federalize the National Guard for like national emergencies.
Yeah, but see, if we had a court case on this publicly, we'd both know the answer. See how good it would be to get all this out in the open?
We are having court cases.
We already have. I just have to research it.
It's going through the court right now. We understand this, right? That this is an open legal question. That
it's not an open legal question.
No, I think it's already been found multiple times. I think there's already multiple states that have already gone through the process, and the process has been Trump can federalize National Guard. Trump can deploy National Guard and federal troops in order to protect federal buildings. They are not allowed to participate in law enforcement action.
The only way that you can do this is I don't know if the law says in times of rebellion or insurrection. It might say, I don't know if it's a national emergency, but it might be in times of insurrection or rebellion. But again, there's a reason why he didn't do. Why didn't he do this?
I Googled this. There's like half a dozen exceptions. It's not just one.
Why didn't he do this during BLM then?
Why didn't? Because they're not allowed to participate in law enforcement action without declaring the insurrection act.
He could protect federal buildings. What do you mean?
He didn't want to declare the insurrection act. He could have used federalized National Guard if he wanted to. He would just have to declare the insurrection act first.
Why was he complaining then about not being able to do it because the governors weren't asking him for it? Also, Trump was not allowed to deploy the National Guard.
Trump's an idiot. Why are we even trying to figure out what Trump means? Like, Trump's a fucking dumbass. He doesn't understand anything.
Being a dumbass doesn't mean that his behavior is random or unknowable. It's because he knew he didn't have the authority to do so.
That argument. I was saying that the president of the United States, throw Trump out of the window real quick. I will Google it. However, it is my understanding, based off of court cases that have already made it through the pipeline, that the president of the United States is allowed to federalize the National Guard under half a dozen to a dozen circumstances, and that he's also allowed to deploy federalized National Guard and military in order to protect federal buildings. However, those people are prohibited from enforcing laws because they're not law enforcement.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, well, I'll Google it. You guys have fun jerking each other raw about shit that's not going to happen.
Jerking it raw, yes.
Jerking it raw. Okay, I'm going to read some super chats at this point, and then we will get into the final section of the show. and we'll see how it goes. $5 from Darina. Wow, Wick, it's like you don't even care about America. You could have worn something a little more patriotic. Geez, like a giant wiener costume. No wiener costume here, but I thought about I like my American hoodie. Okay, thank you for $5. $5 from J Ray N7 to say, isn't Rubio a main champion of the Venezuela plan, and he has enacted the plan to strip the First Amendment rights of immigrants? He has. I'm not saying that Rubio's a good guy. $5 to Trib1. Can we stop virtue signaling here? LOL. Trump is a traitor. All in power who support him should absolutely get treated as traitors as well. It's that simple. Okay, $5 from the Trib1. Do you remember how many Republicans quit or were fired during and after his first term? The Rhino Group. Like, where are your balls at? This is easy. $5 from Psycher Games. I don't want to get political, but I think butter goes well on toast. Sorry if that offends anyone. $10 from Not Rusted Halo Wick. Ask Destiny to explain why this won't fail, like when we banned the Ba'ath Party members from holding power in Iraq post-2003.
Well, I've done that. Hey, why not?
Yeah, why won't this fail? Did he answer your question? I don't remember.
The
No,
Ba'ath
he
Party, it
said
was a
that
single
was a
party
fucking
rule. The
idiot.
Ba'ath Party was literally the entirety of the Iraqi government. There's a difference.
I don't know enough about 2003
hold on.
Iraq.
You're clearing out. You're clearing out the entirety of the active Republican Party, right? Well, first of all, they do have single party rule in some areas, right? It's just Republican, and so you actually are clearing.
The
all
United
that
States of
out as
America
well.
is a democracy. They voted for and they supported willingly a dictator. You didn't really have much of a choice with Saddam Hussein. He would fucking kill you if you didn't support his regime. And it was a single party rule. So you had to be part of that if you were going to be part of the government any way, size, shape, or form.
But what we're talking about is the failure here, right? Like you're like.
No, it's okay. I
you're
understand because you care
sending
about
us to-
Palestine. You know nothing about the Middle East. Obviously, that logically follows. So now we're trying to make this work. But
Okay,
no, it's
but
not even
hold on.
remotely. It's not even remotely comparable. Okay? It's not remotely
Steven,
comparable. Okay?
Steven, it won't work with me. You're not gonna distract me with that. Whatever, right? So, Steven, right? We're talking about a failure state here, right? We're trying a point in which you take a political action, right? And it's and the consequences are so huge.
Try running
that
1
it
minute
has
of ads
massive,
per hour.
unintended blowback. That's what we're referring to, right? Not the exact sequence of events that happened in Iraq. Okay, so
That's not me.
why wouldn't this fail, right? So you're saying that we take down the entire active Republican Party, right? We take away the voice, essentially, for half of the voting public, and there won't be any sort of reaction. This instead will
Let a new wave of Republicans come up. Let a new wave of Republicans come up.
Rather than
Let a new wave of Republicans come up and run for office. People will move on.
What do you think they'll do? Right?
Not the same things the last party did.
What do you think the lesson?
The lesson will be we
maybe
can't do insurrectionist things and destroy the country because we're going to get held accountable for it.
Hold on, just real quick. I see tons of Republicans. I'm not talking politicians here. I'm talking normal, I won't say them, they're normal, but average Republicans who vote. And they are complaining because they worry that the Democrats are going to do exactly what you do, and they are urging Trump to be more extreme because they're saying if you don't Trump, then the Democrats are going to do this. So once you get in power
They should
and you
be worried.
do this,
They should be
what do
worried.
you think these voters
They
that
won't do it
are
again.
saying this now
They won't do it
are
again.
going to vote for in the
They won't do it
future?
again. They should be worried. There should be worried that if you break the law, if you do bad things will happen to you. You should be worried about that. Yeah, that's a good worry to
That
have.
is not the lesson they need to learn.
Can't I
Except if you're a
flip that?
Democrat.
Can't I flip that immediately and say, because I see Republicans all the time who are terrified of Trump and think that they're bringing democracy down to the toilet and America is exploding, and they're like,
All right, I
"Where's
set the
Where's
rules
the party of Dick Cheney? Where's the party of?"
in the kick chat.
Would we ever, cede that ground because we're winning? Why
We're
would
not
we ever
ceding
cede that
ground.
ground by being
No, we're
tough and
inviting them
crazy?
in. We're
As
inviting them in.
Republicans.
We're saying we're fucking
What
getting rid of
ground
all
are
of
we
that old
ceding?
administration. Old Republicans, come on in. You're welcome at the table. We'll fight you politically, but we're certainly not gonna. We'll let you run for office. That's an
Got
extreme
me
amount.
working overtime.
No. But certainly speaking,
No, I don't
Pam Bondi
understand.
should not be able to.
Wick, are you an only child?
No, Oh, I have 2 sisters.
Do you ever play a video game against somebody who's way better than you or older than you, and you're trying to set some fucking attacker percent, and you're like, oh, I bet you won't even let me get this. I bet you won't even let me loot this completely. I bet you won't even let me. I bet you're trying to kill me early. I bet you're trying to do this, right? And you say this shit so the other person doesn't do it, so you can get some fucking god gun or some fucking blue shell or some bullshit, so that you can finally beat him. The fact that the Republicans are saying, wow, I bet that the Democrats are going to try to hold us accountable for fucking destroying this fucking country, and then you're like, okay, well, let's hold them accountable. And you're like, oh my god, you've fallen right into their trap. No, the trap is what you've fallen into, which is no accountability, because the Republicans are scared of accountability. Meanwhile, what did the Republicans say on their side? What do the Republicans say? We better not be fucking crazy, because that would set a really bad precedent.
No, they're saying we need to be as crazy as possible.
Exactly.
Because the Democrats are going to kill us.
No, they say the Democrats have already done it. The same thing that you use as excuses for restraint on the left, the Republicans use as excuses, as reasons to act on the right. They say, Megyn Kelly,
and
when she
that's why
talks,
they're losing and I'm winning.
they're not losing. They won the second election.
winning.
They won the second election. What are you talking about?
Were you here a year ago? Like, fuck.
They won a fluke election where they pushed out our candidate.
You can't call it a fluke election when they won the presidency, they won the House, they won the Senate, they have the fucking Supreme Court.
And you're extrapolating. It's like people extrapolating the win Mamdani got against Cuomo as what the Democratic Party should do as a whole. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking retarded. Okay, there are various factors in that election that does not mean that makes it silly to extrapolate out further from that. Again,
we don't have to extrapolate. We have to look at the guy who won in 2024 was the guy who said the 2020 election was rigged, among 50 other horrible fucking things.
Because he ran a uniquely bad campaign.
But it's also
Biden?
because he
Or
felt like he
Kamala?
was.
No,
But it's also
Kamala
because he felt like
No,
he was
I understand.
protected from all the consequences of his actions.
But like, come on. Like, I understand Kamala run a substandard campaign, but
it's
Only
not
a
just
really
if you're
important
against
channels.
Trump, it should be a landslide.
Yeah,
That
no.
is the state of the country. That is
Run
the state
ads.
of the country, is that we can't accept. We have to accept the fact that it wasn't a
You can-
landslide.
And I
You talk
agree with
about what
Wick. I don't
should
think
be all
Kamala
the-
should have
all the
ran.
day.
I think Biden should have ran again because he's my god. He's my king. But I digress.
Yeah, I know you're Biden a dick rider, right? He's a little incompetent. Or not.
I got more super chats. We can,
Excuse me.
I'm
The
sure
biggest-
this will continue. $5 from Old School to say the next party to take the White House and not use the government to go after their political enemies will govern for the next 2 decades. Okay,
No.
thank you.
What did Biden do to go after his political enemies? Look at that fucking retard.
Just fucking
I disagree with
paintball you
that.
behind the
I
keyboard.
disagree with
Just
that.
please, please,
Yeah.
please.
$2
Yeah,
to
100%.
Ethel
That's
Johnson
fair
to
body.
Like, it's fucking.
say this is gay, Destiny is gay. Thank
That
you
guy's
for
gay.
the
The guy who
$2.
just donated before, I'm going to do this more sibling analogy. It's like when you hit your sibling over and over again, you go, oh, no. When they go to hit you back, you're like, no, don't do it. It's so stupid. It's like somebody breaking into my house and I go to break into somebody's house and I go to break into somebody's house and I tell my friend, watch this. I bet when I go in here and try to take all the shit, I bet he's going to fucking hit me because he's a fucking lunatic. And then you go in and steal all his shit and he fucking hits you and you're like, oh, what did I tell you? But he wouldn't hit me. He would sit there and watch me steal his shit like a cuck because Wick would be like, don't hit him because you're going to prove him exactly right.
No, I would call the cops and get you arrested. That's what I would
what about
do.
if the cop is the
I
one
knew
robbing
he
you?
was
What if
gonna
the cop?
call the
what
No,
if
he
the cop-
go, yeah, I
what if
knew
the
he was
cop
gonna
is
call
the
the
one-
cops.
Cop is the
What
one.
if the cops are the one robbing you? Wick?
Well, what if the cops are the ones robbing? Then you're gonna get robbed. Actually, funny story.
No,
my,
don't
my
stop.
mom,
Funny story.
cops
Answer the
didn't
question.
steal my
Because
laptop.
Donald Trump is the head of the executive branch, which has the DOJ and the FBI. He is the cops. He's the executive. So what do you do when the cops are robbing you? It's a serious question because it's a one-to-one analogy with where Trump occupies the government.
Sure. If you think that the cops are being run by a corrupt sheriff, I'm not sure how cops and that works. Counterpoints could probably speak
Yeah,
to this
sure,
more.
fine,
What
sure.
you do is you elect a different sheriff. That's how you fix the fucking problem.
I'm all for electing a different sheriff.
Okay, great. Let me keep reading these.
Or what
$10
if-
Give me
what if-
looking over
What if everyone's
10.
like, no, I'm kind of on board with Wick getting stolen from all this time?
King.
Okay. Well, then you have a bigger problem, don't you?
And that's
We do
democracy.
have a bigger problem. I agree with
What
you.
if the sheriff's already stolen a ton of shit from you and then he loses the next election and you're like, can I get my shit back? And people are like, you can't go and rob him now. That would set a bad precedent.
Hold on. If they said, hey, if we go after this, there's a 99% chance this guy is going to win again or someone like him is going to win again. You
No,
know
but
what?
that's-
I'm going to take the loss.
Then you know what?
No,
What
but
is
it's
it?
just some
I
fucking
will
random
tell you,
bum.
My
I
future
It's just a
more
guy
than my
saying
past.
99%. It's
Hold
not
on, I'm
any
telling you
like
my future
political
more than my past.
analysis.
I'd rather die
value
on
my
my
rights
feet
more than my
than live on my knees. Okay, that's how it works. We're America, the tree of liberty
Well, you ain't
is
gonna live at all.
thirsty.
You're gonna be in
Okay,
the ground, brother.
Okay, yeah, as opposed to right now, the slow path we're descending into chaos for the past 3
I'm
decades.
giving you a solution to get out of that.
What
path.
is the solution
you're
that's different than what we've done
giving
before?
us
What's the
is a
solution? Wait, what's the solution?
recipe
What's the
for
solution?
that
What's the solution? Wait, what was the
slow
solution?
dissolution of the
What was the
country.
solution?
What is the solution? Is to be fucking normal, win elections, and then we don't have to worry about
Be
a
normal
future
like Obama was
Trump.
normal?
Ignore the
Was it-
fact-
was Obama normal? Was Obama normal? Was Obama normal?
Yeah, pretty much.
How the fuck did we get Trump after Obama?
That's
Because-
Holy
he was black.
shit! Holy shit!
Because he was black, obviously.
That's a great
No.
question.
We got that because of the Iraq War.
That
because
Obama
all
started?
Is this thing on?
2000
Obama was normal, but he was black, obviously.
No, we all agree, but then
Okay.
what's the
But
suggestion?
there's a
then?
whole host of factors.
How do we prevent Trumps in the future?
Okay,
Don't-
how do we prevent?
Don't elect-
Not elect
Don't
black
elect,
presidents.
don't elect radicals.
If anybody voted when Obama was elected, well, let me tell you something. When I went to my polling place to vote for Ron Paul during the Obama election, there were black people lined up around the fucking block to vote for Obama. It was nuts. Those people never been up that early in their life. They made sure they got up early to go vote for Obama because he was black. So Connor's onto something there. He's definitely onto something.
Like Obama, not radical communists. I spent 8 years of my life listening to these subhuman, degenerate demon fucks saying that Obama was a radical socialist communist. Okay, the guy who couldn't even get a public option passed for the fucking healthcare was a radical social communist, and we got Trump after that. Like, this is insane. It's insane. It's insanity. It doesn't get more normal that Obama was boringly normal. Okay.
It's true. And you know what? He won both
I
of
mean,
his
for
terms.
Yeah, but then he set up.
Or American president,
Trump-
right? Because you just commit war crimes, so you're American president.
And
That's
then
like
you
the
Crime.
ran a
That's like the
90-year-old
I'll deal with you
man
later.
talking out of his ears.
Hey, yo, deal with me now.
$10.
Because, like, yeah, that's what
10.
American presidents fucking
Obama shouldn't be committing
$10.
war crimes. He should be based like Hamas and go rape a bunch of people and then have people like Prime in the West defended. Behaves,
do.
kings,
Yeah, sure.
king
yeah, well,
rapists.
again, yeah. Don't worry. Keep trying to distract, right? You have to change the subject because
I'm not changing the subject. I'm talking about Hamas. I think they're
Wait,
based.
that was your.
what you're doing, right? You're
Got
not
me
advocating
working
for justice here.
overtime.
Like, you're not looking for justice because if you was,
What
you
could be
would-
more
you
just than
simply
raped
said
Israelis?
yes.
I thought that's what you
simply
loved.
Said yes, Prime. you said yes, Prime. Of course, like any president, right? With a D or R in front of their name, of course we'd prosecute them. Of course we'd go back and look at whatever crimes they're doing, right? But no, he had to obfuscate. He had to distract. He had to do everything he can, right, to move the subject off his partisans' daddies, right? Like he is here for the Democrats. That's all he's here for, right? So he's not actually looking for a system that would actually hold a party to account, right? Because that system would only
Okay, can I
work
rerail us?
if they understood.
In
if
a
they
second, I'm
understood
gonna
that it was legal, justifiable, and blind. But it's not blind for Stephen, right? He
I'm
only
gonna-
wants
I'm
to
gonna
attack
read my super
Republicans,
chats.
not his daddy.
I'm
Okay.
gonna read my super chats and you can re-rail us if all you like, Staxiums. $10 from the
Yeah.
21 to say thinking the liberal Dems wouldn't have more people and munitions behind them is insane. The Civil War wouldn't just be fought by Americans. Neighboring countries would also join. It's Trump versus USA and its allies. Thank you for the $10. $5 from the Darwina. Do you think these crusty ass conservatives are going to do anything in a civil war? They get asked their pronouns and they piss themselves crying. $2 from Psychor to say yes, but Obama wore a tan suit. Thank you. $20 from Mr. Wise Guys. Wick, you deserve this $20 for putting on display how unhinged the Trump derangement and Trump deranged Destiny's position on politics, specifically on Trump administration is. I love you, counterpoints, for not falling for Destiny's gaslighting.
Who donated that? What was that guy's name?
Mr. Wise Guys plays.
What's his address and full name and social security number? I'm coming after that guy.
That's we disavow. Okay. Thank you for the 20 gifted memberships from Isaac's Text and Trib1. Thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. Trib1 says, I got candy and someone else got a candy bar from the store. I went to the register to buy it and the other person didn't. Is it the same Prime? $5. It's only $5, so you don't have to answer. Is anyone even questioned how these speedboats are being identified? Like, what makes a drug speedboat any different than a family outing speedboat?
Probably a bunch of 55-gallon drums lined up horizontally 4 abreast across the entirety of the ship.
Damn, if only we could have arrested the boats and then found out what was on them.
Oh,
Well,
we did.
Probably shitloads of drugs.
That was a bad
I don't think
faith.
drug trafficking should have a death sentence, but
Yeah.
I also think that those...
Also, Trump did provide evidence. I think he said that when they blew the boats up, you could see the fent dust, I think. I heard him say that.
I don't know.
Yeah, some soldiers a few miles away, right? Like when a seizure, right? When a fentanyl seizure.
Real Serious for 100 ARS says, I feel like there's a fundamental disagreement on whether the U.S. should be able to unalive people on foreign soil for purposes of national security. That's true. $5
Gotta
from
get
Cameron
stuff
512
going here.
to say, is a vote for Trump in 2024 support for an insurrection that started and ended in 2021? Is support for executive orders in 2025 support for actions in 2021?
Got me working.
I think the obvious answer there is no. And just giving you guys a heads up, I do have a hard out at 8.
Okay, then I will read these after we get through closings then. But yeah, let's kind of, at this point, I don't know how, this isn't a serious conversation, unfortunately. I don't think these are serious proposals, but we'll get to closing statements.
Quick thing. I just want to say very quickly. Fuck you, Wick. These are not serious proposals. The president of the United States is engaged in like 20 different scam schemes, things that are like unprecedented in all of fucking U.S. history. Okay. Number 2. The president of the United States is literally tweeting out, "You guys all fucking raked me over the coals for saying I think that we shouldn't disavow violence." Blah, blah, blah. And then the president of the United States this morning is retweeting people saying we should execute congressmen. So if you think that my rhetoric is extreme or the actions of suggestion are extreme, they are extreme. You know what else is extreme? The fucking Civil War, and it was started for arguably less shit than this. It's fucking crazy. This guy is killing people in foreign countries. He's scamming all of fucking America. He's engaged in global trade policy. The whole fucking Congress on the Republican side has advocated all their responsibilities. He's arguably protecting himself as a fucking child rapist, and he's rigging the whole fucking DOJ and Congress against everything else in order to do it. The idea that like, well, I think it's actually kind of crazy that you're saying that like, you know, they shouldn't be allowed to like hold on to that. That's fucking wild. If this was on the Republican side, they would never have this conversation. They would say, how do we make it happen? How many of these motherfuckers can we bar from running again? They're using the term seditious conspiracy, which would bar you from ever running for office again. And they've said seditious conspiracy for like 2 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they're going to lose. I think that when it comes to what Trump is saying, this kind of rhetoric is why he's going to lose in 2026.
Who comes
I said the same thing
We're
in
not worried about
2021.
We
Trump.
want him not to
I said
lose.
the same thing in
Who comes
2016.
next?
Keep doing what
Then who
he's
comes
doing,
next?
and you will give him all the ammo he needs.
He already
to
has
stay
the
in
ammo. Who comes next?
Yeah.
Who's after
Yeah.
Trump?
He's
Why
got
do
the
we
whole
think?
fucking Senate,
Let's
House of
give it to Prime. Let's give it to Prime, and then we'll give it to Counterpoints, and then we'll give it to Staxiums. Go ahead, Prime.
Oh, is this an outro or is this? Like
Yeah,
me
it's an
yelling at you?
outro.
Oh, okay. Well, wait, it was dumb shit. Like, his, like, Trump's actual extremist rhetoric got him into office the first time, right? And then got him to office the second time, and has like increased his popularity all along the way. So no, like him saying, "Hey, well, we should hang politicians," right? No, it's just another pebble, right? Another stone down the path to hell. But like, it doesn't matter.
It's a
Like,
Trumpism.
It'll end up in the same place. So, whatever. Anyway, which way? I think Stephen was bullshitting us. I think that even if he thinks this is a serious proposition, right? There's parts of it I can agree with, certainly, right? But I simply had the reasonable ask of saying, hey, why don't we apply this to all presidents, right? No matter what their crime. It's true, right? Because Stephen will try to distract you. That's what he does, right? That maybe Trump's crimes are greater than other crimes, right? That Biden did or Obama did or down the line, or maybe Clinton as well, right? His crimes may be greater, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have crimes or trials for the other ones, right? If they committed a crime, then they should do the time, correct? Right? Like if we are saying that we're trying to create a system of justice, that justice has to be blind. It has to be blind to political parties. But Stephen isn't, right? This is a partisan witch hunt from his end. Now, Staxiums, from what little we heard of him, right? Staxiums seems to be, no, it's not an insult.
Just go.
Staxium seems to be trying to actually put something forward that might be useful. Yeah, we should have accountability, right, for office holders. That should be the case. Clearing out half of the politicians, right? Because we said, like, well, at a certain point in time, you hadn't reprimanded, right? You hadn't separated yourself from the previous dictator, right? Setting such an arbitrary example, right? Doesn't mean that. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought here. This is all bullshit, right? I lost my train of thought, so I apologize.
I was about to say I need to jump in a second anyway. So do you mind if I just hit it?
Yeah, counterpoints. Yeah, I know you need to go, so just real quick. And then
Okay.
I want to finish my thing now.
Yeah.
Okay. So effectively, like, listen, again, in an ideal world, I would load Donald Trump up into a trebuchet, fire him into the Atlantic Ocean without a life preserver. That's not going to happen. So failing that, we're kind of talking about like political pragmatism. When it comes to being politically pragmatic, I think this is the antithesis of pragmatism. If you want it to be a marketing strategy in which you rally the Democrats to get excited about justice and this, that, the other, that way you get them excited for midterms so we can throw this guy out on his ass, awesome. If this is legitimately a perspective, I think it's kind of dumb as fuck. I think that it stands a snowball's chance in hell. I don't think that it's going to really do anything. And I'm actually with the fact that you're effectively giving these people some Mars complex. I don't agree with your analogies. I think that when it comes to people, so for instance, you're saying, oh, you want me to get cuckolded? You want me to just steal somebody's shit? Well, guess what? He can steal your shit. He's the fucking president of the United States. He has some degree of executive authority. And unless you have the ability to overcome the pardon, or if you have the ability to overcome the impeachment process, or if you have the ability to overcome the criminal process, you're fucked. So the question is, once somebody steals your bike and it's already stolen and you can't get it back, do you worry about getting justice for your bike, even though it's not going to do shit? Or do you focus on working so you can get another bike? And that's what I would say. It's politically unproductive. It's kind of dumb, but it was fun. So Parasocial, love you guys. I think I'm going to see Steven next week. So Parasocial love. Bye to all you guys. See you in a bit.
Love you.
Love you too.
Be careful, babe.
Hey, Prime, you can finish up your point.
Yeah, just to finish up. I disagree with counterpoints you said. You can do both, right? You can get justice for your bike. Of course, you can put the individual in jail, right, who stole the bike, and then you can try to create a world in which bikes aren't stolen, because everyone has a bike or some shit. I don't know. You can do both at the same time. In any case, I do appreciate the conversation. It was nice meeting you, Staxiums. Thank you, Wick, for inviting me.
We've met before. This fucker.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
We've met like
Justice Department.
Fine.
Where can people find you, Prime?
Thank you. Stephen, go fuck yourself. But you can find me at youtube.com or twitch.tv/PrimeKai, PrimeCeyes. Love to have you. We're streaming, and we're putting on political panels. A lot of fun. So come on down. I'm streaming right now. I'll stay a little while longer. So if people had something they want to say to me, come over to my channel, youtube.com, and I'll deal from there.
Okay, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. Destiny, do you have anything else for us?
Republicans are dreamers, okay? I'm tired of being told that we have to be pragmatic while the other side has messianic hallucinations of power and manages to enact them time and time again. Gavin Newsom is the only person in the Democratic Party that seems to be willing to fight over anything. He came in with Prop 50 at like 35%, and people said it was crazy. Donald Trump came into the primaries at like 1% and managed to capture basically the entire Republican Party. And if we allow the Republicans to act with impunity, to steal Supreme Court picks from us, to steal elections from us using the Supreme Court, to commit crimes, to scam the American public, to openly and blatantly break laws that we don't even talk about anymore, like the fucking Hatch Act. We're past even beginning to care about these things. If they're allowed to break these things over and over again with impunity, with no consequences, then all you're doing is setting up the next elected Republican to break the exact same laws in a more unhinged manner. Just like Trump 2 has been more unhinged than Trump 1. I don't know why we wouldn't expect Trump's predecessor to be or Trump's successor to be even more unhinged. It doesn't make any sense. So I think that it would be good to
What
have
about
like some.
Democrats?
I think it would be
Let him
good
finish
to
his-
have a strict. Watch this. Do you want to see a magic trick? Hey, Prime. Can you give me a single official that was elected to federal office that agrees with your political positions over the past decade?
What is my political? What
Exactly.
Is,
so nothing you say matters because
positioning?
your
I
political
wanna know
positions are
on what
untenable. They
position
don't
you
matter.
on?
I don't
No,
even
what
think you
position
fucking
are you
vote. So
talking
it
about?
actually
Sorry, what
super
position
are you
doesn't
talking
matter.
about? largely
It
agree
doesn't
with.
matter. It doesn't matter.
I
Got
have
him.
no
That's
I have
why it
lots
doesn't
of
matter.
political
I'm
positions.
so
What
happy
position
that
are
we're
you
in the
talking
process of
about?
ejecting
No, you
this,
just say some
this
vague
ejecting these
bullshit,
people
right?
from the
AOC
left
agrees
because
with
they're
my
not our
positions, right?
allies.
If
They're
that's
not
what
our
you're talking
allies.
about,
They're not
you're
our
a
allies.
bullshitter.
They're not our allies, and that's
You're a
good.
fucking
If I look at
bullshitter.
your Twitter, have you been roasting AOC ever for refusing to condemn the
No,
genocide
you
in
won't say
Israel?
anything.
Never. You haven't said anything negative about AOC.
Look at it right
wow.
now.
What-
Let's post
how
on
would you?
Twitter.
Why would you avoid the question like that? Why would you avoid it like that? Why don't post on Twitter, implying that if you were posting on Twitter, you would be roasting AOC because you thought she was slow to come around Israel. So that's okay. That's okay. Oh, then you do.
Yeah,
Then
that's
you,
what
why
he's
would you even admit that? So then
That
you,
was
so,
the point,
Exactly.
dude.
That was the point.
Look,
Also,
because
AOC was
I'm
elected
not-
more than a
I'm not
decade
a
ago.
dick rider
AOC was
like
elected more than a
I'm not
decade ago,
dick
so it
rider
doesn't
like you
matter.
are. Because I don't have
GG.
to worship my
G.
political
Okay.
G.
heroes.
Doesn't
right?
matter.
I can say
No
they're
one cares.
politicians.
Okay. Closing
Bullshit.
statements, gang. For fuck's sake.
In Inception, when that guy pulls out the rocket launcher, he says, "Dare to dream a little bigger." What, Tom Hardy? That's what we needed. We need to dream bigger and pull out a rocket launcher. Okay.
Okay. Gang, if you like this content for whatever
What the
reason,
fuck?
You don't give Staxon a final statement?
Staxiums, didn't you have the first
Unbelievable.
one?
After all I've been through, you fucker.
No.
Staxiums, didn't you have the first?
No,
No.
you didn't give him
Okay.
shit.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
Staxiums, go ahead.
Motherfucker.
Staxiums, close this out.
Yeah, sorry. Just
I
something that I
defend
wanted to talk
white men, okay? I defend white men. I'm an ally.
Thank you. I feel so supported right now.
Your has to, because like 99% of his political movement are white men. So
something I wanted to talk to Connor about, but he left. A similar historical example that I think we should have been talking a little bit more about is Nixon being able to move on from his crimes. Ford pardoned Nixon, and the Republicans lost all political capital, and their approval ratings were dog water, and lost the next election. And my conclusion is that it's not always politically advantageous to just ask the country to move on. I'm Staxiums. You can call me Hunter. I make political TikToks. I do debates every Friday, and I'm probably going to do more debates. I'm on Wick all the time, and thanks for having me, Wick.
Anytime. We appreciate you having coming on. Now, I'm gonna stay on a little longer. You guys can stay with me, and I can bring in callers, or you guys can fuck off. I don't care. But that's what we're gonna do.
I'm probably gonna fuck off.
Yeah. See you later, buddy.
I'll stay a little longer.
Okay, we're gonna bring in a couple people.
I'm for sure fucking off then.
jeez, what do you mean by that? Oh my god, the fuck is
I'm just
no.
joking. Prime, we're good, right? We're good.
No, we're definitely good, right? No, I said fuck Steven, not fuck Stacks.
Oh,
yeah,
true.
They all sound the same. All white people look the same to me. Okay.
True.
So we got North here, and we got Short Fat Otaku. And we're gonna try like two at a time here. What do you guys got? What are you've been watching this? What are your thoughts? Go ahead.
Yemeni pirates. I don't think Biden had the proper authority to bomb the Yemeni pirates. I mean, yeah.
Would you
Would-
charge
would,
him for that? Would you charge him?
Yeah,
with a
would
crime?
you charge Biden for that? Because you claimed that, what was it, that one act that was passed after 9/11 in like 2001 to basically kill anyone involved with, the destruction of the Twin Towers, but I don't think the Yemeni pirates were involved with that. I think it's a major stretch at all to even consider them within that authority. So is Biden striking Yemeni pirates, is that something that we should bring him to trial for?
Sorry, you might have to remind me. Weren't they attacking American ships?
Well, yeah, they were attacking American ships.
Okay, that feels like a
Unrelated.
completely different category. I was mostly comparing it to Trump's attacks on the Venezuelans. I don't know exactly where my line sits. Yeah, maybe I would think that that's abhorrent. I think that's fair. I think that's fair, and it's certainly a category above or a category below what Trump is doing right now.
Well, yeah, I guess you could consider it like a category below, but I'm saying it's still a president operating outside of the purview of the powers given to them by Congress. To
Just real quick, counterpoints. I thought you had to go.
that was Connor here.
I did. So the guy sent me a DM that said 8 p.m. EST, but that's when his show normally is. But Andrew Wilson and I agreed to 9 p.m. EST, so I was just incorrect on the time. My apologies. But SFO said that he had a question for me, so I wanted to answer his question.
Okay. Well, go ahead, SFO.
Oh, I thought North, you were still doing your thing.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying.
Look, I'm happy to apply an equivalence here, and if we want to go through the political process of charging Biden and opening up an investigation to see if he worked through the presidential powers, I'm happy to do so. I think that it's going to be miles below what Trump is doing and not indictable. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't know. I leave that to a grand jury to decide.
The difference when we're talking about charging with crimes are things that you do generally in your country, and it requires the knowledge that you are committing a crime, generally speaking, depending on what time or what type of crime we're talking about. So if the president of the United States is acting within what he believes his perceived authority is to a particular action, then it's hard to say that somebody should be charged with a crime there. That's like a checks and balance question of should the Congress revoke some power from the president. Now, if we want to say that the interpretation of the authorization of use of military force has been stretched too broadly, I think it's been pretty well accepted that presidents have been happy to interpret the authorization for the use of military force to give them broad discretion to do acts, especially in the Middle East. And it seems like Congress hasn't tried to intervene to stop that. I don't think there have been challenges that I'm aware of that have gone to the Supreme Court ruled against the president in terms of their interpretation of that. So it would seem that the president does have the legal authority to function in that manner. I don't believe that Trump cites authorization for the use of military force for like his attacks in Venezuela. I don't know if it's been used outside of the Middle East.
The way that I understand it is...
If President J.D. Vance believes that in the unitary executive theory, right, he believes he has the authority to do whatever it is he wants to do, right, then would that inoculate him? There's
two things. One, there is going to be some reasonableness standard that we can talk about. But two, I don't even think he believes that. I think he knows that he's breaking the law. And I would prove it with his past statements, because he's made statements saying that he thinks that Donald Trump could be the next Hitler, or that he's had completely different opinions on what the powers of the president should be. Like, we can ask questions about his state of mind.
But even then, he could say he could change his mind, though, right? Like, even with his past statements, he could change his mind.
You could.
So now, I believe in unitary executive theory, right?
Sure, but I mean, we could look at all of his statements collectively. We could subpoena him, see what he says behind closed doors. It wasn't a question about the Trump administration. They knew, all of them knew, relating to the 2020 election. They knew they were breaking the law. All of them knew it. It wasn't a mystery. It wasn't, what's going on here. And with Vance saying statements like, "Well, let the judges enforce their rulings" or whatever, or "We don't agree with what these judges are saying," that's clearly like in violation of the law. You can't do that. It's a clear abuse of checks and balance. You're not allowed to do that.
I think another issue that I have is like you're wanting to push this to the Supreme Court in order to figure this out. There are certain things that the Supreme Court can't really do, right? So let's say Trump is bombing Venezuelan ships in the Caribbean without the purview of Congress. Can the Supreme Court even do anything about it? I mean, they might say like, "Oh, you're being a naughty boy," but it's not like the Supreme Court has the power to order ships to like stop bombing Venezuelan crap.
Well, the government could, the Supreme Court could find that the president is exceeding his authority, and then now the issue you run into.
But the Supreme Court doesn't have any purview to follow through with that.
I'm
put in front of them first.
Wait, hold on. This is called a constitutional crisis for that reason, right? Technically, it's up to the executive to enforce it, but in the past, most presidents have generally followed what's come from Congress and come from the Supreme Court. It's only the Trump administration that seems to clearly just not give a fuck. That's exceptional. That's a new thing.
But that isn't even necessarily descriptively true, because we've had them push it to the limit. For instance, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, we had them push them to the limit of obstruction. Then before
this is bullshit. I'm not even going to entertain this. Like, if my wife tells me I'm not allowed to fuck another girl, and I put a condom on, and I say, "Well, my dick didn't technically touch her," and Connor's like, "Well, actually, his dick really didn't actually technically touch her." So does he even got to? That's the argument you're giving. It's bullshit. This is a bullshit argument.
I didn't come here just to listen, okay? I didn't come here just to listen to you. This isn't just the Destiny show.
Nobody said it's just a Destiny show. You're just giving a bullshit argument. You don't even believe this.
This is the Wick show.
8 hours to listen to you. Okay,
okay, we're on the Connor show now. Let's go.
Okay, so on the Connor show, okay, so they pushed it to the limit as far as obstruction goes, but the lower court didn't find them in contempt of court and didn't charge Trump admin officials and incarcerate them, which technically they probably ran right up to the limit to. And now Kilmar Abrego Garcia was brought back. So you can say, "Oh, the Supreme Court can do this, can do that." No, they need a court case to be appealed up to their level first in order for them to do it.
Bullshit.
You bullshit.
They knew they were breaking the law. They knew they were breaking the law with Abrego Garcia. A court finally ruled on it, like, oh, okay, we'll come back. The precedent you're setting there is you can break the law infinite times as long as you eventually listen to the court afterwards. It's fucking retarded.
Somebody has to sue first.
No,
the people who should
that's not how the law works, motherfucker. You're not only held accountable by the law if you break it and then the court corrects you on it. The court is not there to keep you from breaking the law. The court is there to punish you for breaking the law.
Wait, hold on.
The court is there to adjudicate the law. But anyway.
My position is that somebody would need to bring a court case that the Supreme Court would need to review. Are you even arguing against it, or are you just
You're
yelling?
arguing that the court needs to tell you if you can do a thing or not. That's not what the court is for. The court is there to punish you when you break the law. That's what the court is for. You're saying that the Trump admin can do whatever the fuck they want as long as they listen to the court afterwards?
Well, hold on. Number one, I think we actually both agree descriptively you have to violate the law or be accused of violating the law before somebody can hit you with a civil or a criminal infraction. I think we both agree on that.
Yep.
So, yeah, Trump has to violate the law, and then somebody has to sue him for violating the law, and then that needs to go to a lower court, and then the lower court needs to send it up to the higher court.
Yes.
I don't even know what we disagree on.
The thing is, because you're saying that the process is working, I'm saying that them saying you can't do it and then Trump stopping it, that's not the solution. It should be you couldn't do that and now you're convicted of a crime. That should be what's happening, but it's not. So Trump's saying,
so
I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Okay, so I'm with you here. So
Hold
the
on, no,
lower
wait.
court
No,
judge
hold on.
could have
So when
charged Trump
Biden tried,
admin
no,
officials
stop.
with obstruction.
Stop. When Biden tried to make a law or executive order to forgive student loan debts, and then the Supreme Court said, no, you're breaking the law. That's not something we should do. And then he stopped it. Should Biden be charged with a crime even though he stopped?
No, because you can
I'm going to
look...
interrupt real quick. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm going to peace out. All right, love you guys.
Okay,
no, because you can look at the actions of the presidents to see if they genuinely believe they have the authority to do so. President Biden could make a good faith argument stemming from an earlier law passed by Congress that gave the Department of Education relatively wide discretion on forgiving debt in times of emergency or whatever. Now, the Supreme Court ultimately decided, no, it doesn't apply here. It's too big of a thing. And then he wasn't able to do it. But there was an articulatable reason why he thought he had the authority to do that. Donald Trump doesn't even give the pretense of that. Like, there are times when the president might act outside their authority. You can say, okay, well, the court needs to check this, and the court checks, and it's like, oh, okay, then it's not okay, right? And I'm not saying, like, oh my God, the president needs to be charged with a crime. It's, do they have the state of mind of, like, I know I'm breaking the law. I don't give a fuck. Let the court come and fuck me. I don't give a fuck. That's the difference.
Okay,
Trump is doing that.
I think that when they've gone to court, though, as an example, with like Kilmar Abrego Garcia, they've said, oh, well, we thought he was acting within his, I don't even know if plenary is an appropriate word, but he was acting within his XYZ ABC authority in order to carry out the duties of the presidency.
They said
national security.
No.
You said that they didn't even have the pretense of an argument.
That's why when they went to the court,
pretense of
they
an
didn't. That's why the Solicitor General said, okay,
What do you think the word pretense means?
When the Solicitor General went to the Supreme Court and he argued, the Supreme Court said, hey, they're suing you to enjoin the government from being able to deport people for no reason. And what is your argument? And their argument is, well, we don't think you should be able to have universal injunctions against us. That was their argument. It was a procedural argument. They didn't defend the substance of it at all. And even when they won on the procedural argument, they still brought him back because they knew it was fucking bullshit and they should have deported him in the first place. So no, they don't even try to argue the substance of half the shit that they take to the Supreme Court. They get hung up in fucking stupid procedural
Stephen,
land.
Could you help me out? Stephen, could you help me out? Because I was looking at these before. So your complaint against our friend Counterpoints was that like the judiciary is reactive, right? And then you, in response, said like, instead we need to limit a president, right, in the first place, so they don't actually commit the crime in the first place. So if that's the case, one, tell me, how do we actually stop a president from doing an action, right? We can make a law, but they can still just break that law. And in the end, like, isn't it up to the Supreme Court to be, or the judiciary, to be the corrector of bad actions, right? So, like, once that action is taken place, then the only power that we have is really the courts to say, hey, that was wrong.
If I want to play Monopoly with you and I bring a knife to stab you if you start beating me, what rule can you put in Monopoly to keep me from stabbing you to death over a Monopoly game?
No stabbing.
Nothing,
Also,
right? So,
you
like,
still got
the
pretense.
There's
legislator
nothing.
can't actually restrain the executive. Yeah, exactly.
Correct. The executive has to want to be restrained. That's why George Washington leaving after 2 terms was such a big deal. That's why we put term limits after fucking Roosevelt or where the fuck, when he had fucking 20 terms in office. The reason why the executive is so important is because The executive is supposed to be the one to enforce the laws. So if the executive decides not to, that's why it's called a constitutional crisis, because there's nothing you can do about it. Courts are not here to stop bad things from happening. Courts are here to make people whole or to enforce justice after bad things happen. And you have to hope that the executive is playing in good faith.
So okay. So then you're saying that we need to reestablish norms, and the way we reestablish those norms is through these trials, right? These like public trials where there's like a significant punishment for perpetrators. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to establish that.
I wanna get. I know Short Fat Otaku had some question he wanted to ask. So go ahead, Dev.
Well, this debate's made me pro-genocide, that's for sure.
Jeez.
Counterpoints. So you said earlier, if we can't get the Republicans now, it's not going to happen. Why do you think that again?
Because
as in not waiting until 2028.
Because right now you have the egregious violations that we're talking about. We're talking about like the civilian drone bombings. We're talking about
Sounded a lot like Nuremberg trials to me.
Orders. We're talking about all that kind of stuff. If we don't have the will within Congress in order to do something before 2028, I don't think that you're going to get anything in 2028.
Why though?
Because there's not enough Republicans who are willing to go with the Democrats in order to hold Republicans accountable.
Well, no, but if you have a blue sweep, then you'll have enough people in Congress then, right?
Well, I mean, I would be happy to take a look at it in 26, but also then we open up the can of worms of holding previous presidents accountable for criminal behavior. And then we also have to read this within the realm of like, you're going to have to impeach, then you're going to have to criminally charge, and you're going to have to balance that against the new Supreme Court ruling while still having a conservative Supreme Court.
Why do you have to impeach and then first you just fucking charge him? Fuck him.
Okay, but you understand that you're going to be spending a lot of political capital on this venture that I do not think is ultimately going to be successful.
I think we have a high investment in the United States to have it so that our chief executive doesn't believe that he can commit crimes. I think that's a principle worth fighting for. Even kings were more limited in their power.
Yeah, and counterpoints. Like, what difference does it make, like, to you, really, that like an administration burns its political capital on this project?
Because I actually think the reason why, so for me, I think that I don't think it's just nostalgia. I think things have gotten materially worse for Americans over the past 2 or 3 decades. And so as a result, I see us like socioeconomically sliding into a position where radicalism is becoming increasingly normal. And I think that if Americans' lives were better, they wouldn't be as attracted to radicalism.
Time to hit up the faucet.
I would actually rather focus on the things that I think are driving radicalism rather than getting into we must punish Trump. Once again, I'll say it again. I think Trump is a symptom, not the disease.
I mean, I agree. I perfectly agree with you. But one, I think political capital, we look at it the wrong way, right? Like political capital, you actually gain it from doing things, right? Like getting wins, right, gives you more political capital. And so if you could put these people on trial, right, not all of them, like Steven says, it's a dumbass idea, don't listen to him. But if you put like a
wants to invade Israel, by the way.
And
let's get this scenario.
So if you put Pete Hegseth on trial and you succeeded, right, and you brought him to justice, I think that gives you political capital. Look what I've accomplished, right? Rather than like burning it from trying to put it on trial, right? Success breeds more success.
I'll give you a hypothetical. Let's say that we find out that Pam Bondi knowingly hid incriminating evidence against Trump from the Epstein files under the color of law for DOJ investigations, and she was not pardoned. And that was revealed, and we had the midterm ability in order to, I don't even know if you'd impeach her, but you have the ability to criminally sanction her. 100%. Yeah. I'm all for it. But what I'm saying is, what I think is going to happen is that the Trump admin is going to use the Hunter Biden pardon, which I know is bullshit, but they're going to use that as a pretext to blanket pardon their own admin as they're on their way out the door.
Well, they're going to do that anyway, right? Like, but they can just do that one way or the other. Like a blanket pardon, like Bush did a blanket pardon
themselves, their families, all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah, but they'll do that anyway.
This brings into a concern that I have: the constitutionality of this. How much of the Constitution are you willing to violate? Like, let's say Trump just pardons everyone, right? Or the Supreme Court says, like, no, you're not allowed to go through with this theoretical Nuremberg situation. how much of the Constitution are you willing to violate just to prosecute Trump? and
Every
his
single
administration?
prosecutor that works on this
And
case,
those like associated.
every single prosecutor that works on this case and the judges that adjudicate these cases, I think should be legally required to wear giant shirts that have that Trump tweet printed on them that says, "He who saves his nation violates no law." And there you go, boom.
That's,
Yeah, but see, now we're just
that's a
taking it
non-answer
into the
right
popular.
there. That's just a meme
So-
answer.
Look at how mad they are.
So counterpoints. the disagreement that we have is that I think even if you did get Trump in 2026, you kicked him out of office, Vance will pardon him immediately. I think the only way to actually get justice for any of this, and I think Americans should get justice for this, is to wait until 2028. I think there's no path to prosecuting Trump that doesn't begin in 2028.
But then what we're talking about, because I did bring this up, I'll bring it up again. So we're in the let's say Gavin Newsom. Okay, we're in the first 2 years of a Newsom presidency or 4 years of a Newsom presidency. So what you're saying is, instead of focusing on a domestic agenda that should actually be helping Americans, survive and thrive in an increasingly difficult economy, what they should do is they should instead spend 2 to 3 years going after a popular with his own base political opponent who already has pardon. And what is your circumventing capacity? Well, what is your capacity to go after Trump? What is your capacity to go after Hexist? What is your capacity to go after Bundy? Because I think
for
you
Trump,
have
I think it's actually pretty easy. I think it's actually really easy for Trump. On January
How so?
21st, you put Trump in handcuffs, and then you bring back the Epstein, not Epstein, Jesus, the Eastman scheme, that related set of lawsuits, because that was dropped, but it can still be brought back up.
Okay, but
was it Jack Smith?
Hold on. Was it
Have you
ever
considered how
determined if those
Republicans will
lawsuits
feel?
were under the what is it, the presidential immunity with official actions? Was that ever determined?
We can get rid by that by appointing 12 more Supreme Court justices and overturning that decision. Easy.
Okay, then this brings back to violating
because
the Constitution.
Nothing in the Constitution about the number of Supreme Court justices.
Okay. So if you appointed like 12 Supreme Court justices that just said like, okay, we're just gonna do whatever the Democratic Party says, but they really
But it's not a violation.
hold the Constitution.
Hey, you're talking about the immunity ruling, right? Because in the immunity ruling, they even some of the conservative justices in the immunity ruling said that some of the things that Trump did with regard to the Eastman scheme and all the false electors, that wouldn't be covered by immunity. So you can bring that case back and you can immediately throw him in prison. And I hope Americans do in 2028. But I don't think you can get there if you allow Vance to become president by indicting Trump first.
Why? Okay, but hold on. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but with the pardon power, it's been argued that the pardon power is so vague and so unspecific within the the constitutional construction or whatever, that it is believed that the president actually does have the ability to pardon himself.
Hasn't been tested before. I don't think anyone really
There's a
knows that.
loophole to that as well. Trump could just step down like the day before he leaves office, appoint J.D. Vance, and J.D. Vance could pardon him. I mean,
right.
You know what? If you got, what? I agree. Actually, if we're going to be creative with loopholes. When Abrego Garcia was out of the country, the Trump admin ruled that once he's out of the country, this is out of the jurisdiction of any court to rule. So we should just throw Trump onto a fucking plane, and we should fly him out of the country. Now we can do whatever the fuck we want, and he's beyond any court, apparently, according to what he's argued. So,
well, technically, it's not us; it's whoever the fuck we're sending him to. But yeah,
right, yeah.
Right. Yeah,
my technically idea comes back, but okay, but barring
Send him to Venezuela.
No, do you guys understand how kind of fucked up this is to talk about? Like,
no, it's 100% fucked up.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. Wait. What's fucked up? What's fucked up?
Fucked up. Like,
What's
do we
fucked up?
think that it was good that they sent Abrego Garcia, even if he was guilty of every single thing that he's been accused of, to foreign soil so we could do whatever the fuck they wanted to him? No, it was obviously not good. So it's obviously not good, even if Trump is and he is guilty of every single thing, right? That is still something we should not do, because it is wrong to do so.
Why was it wrong to do so? What's the difference between killing and murder? The lack of justification.
You shouldn't kill Trump either.
I'm not saying we should kill him, but I'm just saying that you're saying that when you do the same action in like physical time and space, then it's of the same moral equivalence. It's just stupid. That's not true.
In this case, it would be to try to get around laws and civil protections that even Trump is protected by sending him to foreign soil, even if he did it himself.
Well, that's real unfortunate then. He shouldn't have argued that.
He did.
Shitty.
The whole thing is basically saying, fuck the Constitution, we're just going to ignore it entirely and try to just prosecute him in like fucking Holland.
Who's saying fuck the Constitution? We're going by prior rulings. This is all legal according to the Trump admin, right?
Okay, but Dev,
you would disagree with them.
You were the only
But he's
person not
actually fine.
memeing.
But hold on, Stephen's point isn't not to say fuck the Constitution, though, right? Like he's actually trying to work within the judiciary, right? You're saying you're trying to block all these avenues.
No,
He's
that's
saying, like, we
not
could
what
just-
he's saying. He's saying he wants to subvert it by going outside of the country, just like what the Trump administration
No,
did.
he didn't. No. That came afterwards, though. Like, and your objection to him before, you were saying the same thing.
Well, here we are again, one more time. It's something great. What's it going to be? Greatness awaits in the palm of our hands. So, you know what time it is. Time for a little State Connect. Let's do this. While I was away, I earned 6.94 SP. Still not enough to level up. So, what I'll need to do is go to the United States. Look at that. If you can fill it in as good as that, I'll give you 29.2 SP. While you were away, you earned 2.48 DC. I'll take that. Still not enough to level up. So, unfortunately, for now, that's all we can do. But look all we've already done. That's unreal. That is just unreal. Look at that. See, I don't think you really get the full scope of what's going on here. Skill transform. Let me show you something here. Look at that. I mean, can you imagine? Well, with that being said, we'll have to come back in 2 hours. That is State Connect. A lot of good games on here. Go a little alien shooter. What do you say we do a little alien shooter action? Let's do this. Oh, bonus. Bonus. Go for S1. Oh, son of a bitch. Ah, Batman, the comeback. That's it. Son. Did it. You got this. Oh yeah. Here we go. suicide bomber. Missed a power up. Ah. Did it freeze up? The game froze. The fucking game froze up. What a rip. That was Jetpack Joyride. Alien shooter, I mean. Let's try it again. Nearly enough coins. What is this? Okay. Now what? Victory. That means I won. Only 1 second? Wait. Why did do them all? What? Oh. Understand 1 million. Let's go. stopping me now? Oh. Collect all crystals. Okay. How do I do it? Let's go. That's right. Still says 1 of 2. Alright, beat it all. Ah. That's right. One more game. Go for S1. Confused. Let's do this. Son of a bitch. Alright, I'm done with that game. Doodly-doodly-doodly. What have we got here? A little bit of Tomb of the Mask, maybe? How about a little Tomb of the Mask? Get the chest. Here we go. Hey, not bad. Let's try one more time. Ooh. Reached level 7. Let's go. Fingers weren't fast enough. One more try, then we go to arcade. One more try. Oh! Try one more. We got this. Oh. Zero energy. Well, that's the Tomb of the Mask. Come back in, what did it say? 2 hours?
met, because Trump originally said he's going to do it for domestic law enforcement, which is legal according to the Policy Committees Act, which means that Trump knowingly was violating this stuff. That's the thing I want to bring up. You cannot deploy the national guard without the federal government, without the state government's consent.
Actually, I have a question for you regarding that.
That's already wrong.
I see a lot of right-wingers talk about how Eisenhower federalized the National Guard to enforce desegregation against the will of the Arkansas governor. So what was the?
So the reason that is because, so yeah, I had a debate in my college around this, so I was doing research on this. So you can do it. There's 3 conditions. You can do it if the U.S. is being invaded, there's a rebellion or danger of rebellion, or if the president is unable to enforce federal law. The issue is none of these apply, because why Trump deployed the National Guard to blue cities is because of law enforcement.
Because he's unable to enforce the federal law in sanctuary cities, right? Because sanctuary cities.
No, that's not why he deployed it. He deployed it because he cited crime as the primary reason. Then he hasn't even retroactively changed it. He's still been talking about crime rates in D.C., Chicago, L.A. That's why he said he deployed the National Guard.
But here's the thing, though. All of the courts have come back effectively saying exactly what you said.
Which states?
Hold on. He can federalize the National Guard. He has used rebellion as a pretense.
Wait, why do you keep saying that? He's lost like every time this has been challenged. He lost in California, he lost in DC.
You should Google the word pretense, because you've used it incorrectly multiple times. So anyways.
Wait, what do you think
He's used the pretense of rebellion, and then the courts have come back and said the only way that you can use federalized National Guard, you can't use them for local law enforcement, you can only use them to protect federal buildings.
Why did he say he was sending them to DC?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The reason he said he was sending this
in court,
it does matter, because that would be the justification for deploying the National Guard. The reason,
the pretense of rebellion.
No, you can't change your argument in court.
Law enforcement.
You can't just go to court and say.
Hold on. Wait. Where did I hear? What large political streamer did I hear say, "I don't care what people say in public. I only care what people say in court"?
Because in court you have to stop. Hold on. No, shut the fuck up.
Famous liberal streamer who said that probably a dozen times.
That's when you're the plaintiff. It's a totally different thing. When Donald Trump goes to court, when Donald Trump goes to court to defend a thing, I've never said that you can't look at a person's public statements to determine the things that the state of mind of the person at the time. That's a lot different than me saying I think Connor has defamed me a million times over every single statement he's made, and then when I sue you and I go to court, I say, well, I don't think he's defamed me, but I think he inflicted emotional harm, right? Okay, well, I'm gonna get your court statements here. That's what you're charging him with. That's what you're suing him for. That's a lot different than me going to court and saying, oh, I only did this for reasons ABC. That's really crazy, because when we consult the public record, you were saying X, 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 Y, 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 Z, 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 Z. So it seems like it doesn't work there. It's not even remotely comparable. Nice try, though.
It's like if you stab someone. It's like if you stab someone and then say,
so hold on.
If Trump
makes a public statement that we all agree is in the legal purpose in violation of the Posse Comitatus Act, I agree with you.
He has.
But he uses
he doesn't.
Court the pretense of rebellion. You should Google the word pretense.
That's not how that works.
That's not how that works.
Retroactively say this is why I'm deploying the National Guard.
And then the court orders the Trump administration to behave in a certain way, and then they comply with said order. That's the system working.
When Connor, you say comply with said order, you mean comply with the law.
Wait, Connor, if I stab you and then retroactively say, oh, well, it's because I was scared of you attacking me, that doesn't change the fact that I stabbed you because I wanted to kill you. Your state of mind when you do the action is what matters.
No. You're wrong, because that's the defense people use. Like, I thought I was going to be killed.
But it's about the state of mind when you did the action.
If at the time...
No, it's about the state of mind when you do the action.
Yes, exactly. If I say at the time, I'm going to stab Wick because I fucking hate Wick and I think he's too much of a centrist cuck on these panels, and then we go to court, and I say, well, I was actually afraid of my life. What do you think the prosecutor's going to say? They're going to say, well, really? Let's look at the statements that you made at the time. Oh, it looks like you said you were going to kill him because you thought he was too mean to you on panels. Well, that's not the defense.
When the court comes around and says, you can only stab Wick when he's being, like, threatening your life, and then from now on, you only stab me when I threaten your life. You're complying with
the order. And by the way, hold on.
Yeah, but I would be charged with a crime for stabbing you.
This is already established. This is already established. This is precedent. This isn't like a precedent
gotta go.
thing.
If you guys want to continue this another time, we can. However, what I would point out to you guys is that the courts are the ones that are supposed to hold you to account. So if you have beef with the way that our system is working, take a beef with the judges, take a beef with the legislature. Those are the people who are supposed to be holding
the way that it works in the United States of America, the way that it works in the United States of America, you're supposed to follow the law. That's how it's supposed to work. You're not supposed to wait. You're not supposed to wait for the court to say, by the way, you're breaking the law. This isn't Dave Chappelle where you can go, I didn't know you couldn't do that, and you're scot-free the first time.
Also, this is already been established as my issue.
Why are we treating the Constitution like a fucking daily word jumble?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Al.
I wanted to come in. Hey, it's Kafka. Hey, I wanted to come in. I want to defend the Nuremberg trials as being constitutional real quick. There's a lot of people talking about how we have to come in and do a bunch of unconstitutional shit to hold Trump and them accountable, and there's plenty of room within the Constitution to do exactly what Destiny's calling for. All right,
I know.
That's all I wanted to come in to say. You can go. The Congress, if we had 67% of the Congress, they could come in, they could establish courts, they could establish laws that allow us to go after these people. So it's not, and we would actually do it in a way where we're not breaking the Constitution, tearing it to ribbons like all these people are talking about. That's all I came in really to say, is that there's nothing in here. You guys all are acting like doing it would be somehow the same as what the Republicans are doing, and it's not. We'd be able to do it within the law easily.
Do you think that what Destiny's advocating for? Hold on, just real quick. Do you think what Destiny's advocating for, where we bar 50 to 75% of sitting Republican people, current office holders, from ever holding office again, is that a constitutional thing to do?
Yep.
Sure. So here's what you would do.
Andy's a lawyer.
Yes, we can.
Kick him out. Kick him out. Kick him out.
As we should.
You would get the Congress to come in, and you would have them write a law that says that they can't, that these people, if they did these things, they can't hold office.
So
and then
you want the Republican-controlled Congress right now to write a law saying that they can't hold power? Or do you think that's
okay? I'm sorry. Are we talking about right now? I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about a world in which we're trying to hold these people accountable.
We get to a world where the Democrats win the election and we blue sweep. We got 60 seats in the Congress and things like that. Do you think that there's any political will for them to write this law?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think
that
is crazy talk. I don't think that's
you think that in 4 years, you think that, remember, it hasn't even been a year yet. You think in 3 plus a few months years, by the time we get to that point with Donald Trump in there that long, you don't think there's going to be the political will to do that? You think people are going to go, you know what?
No, I don't think there's going to be a political will to bar Republicans, 75% of Republicans from ever holding office.
We're mixing
the only real problem
we're
here
mixing the whole list of things. Hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
Whether you can do this, right? Of whether it's constitutional or not, right? It's not unconstitutional. I agree.
It looks like he's in.
But like then it's like, well,
Dorm
will there
room.
be political will to do this? Well, that's a completely different animal, right? Should we do this? Which is another.
Yes, you should do it. Yes, absolutely. Unequivocally, you should fucking do it. The only real issue, in my opinion, is where you draw the line. I don't know how you do that.
I don't think we should do what Steven is proposing. But we're talking about like holding the top line Trump administration accountable. Absolutely.
Well,
they're not just talking. Hold on, no, they're not just talking about like Trump and JD Vance and the immediate thing. What they're advocating for is people who run, like, are a state senator who happened to tweet out Trump is great one time, right?
Easy. That's an easy. You're giving me easy ones. That's an easy. Get him out of here.
I'm sorry.
More office for you.
We need McCarthyism for MAGA. All right, bring McCarthyism back and target MAGA. That's what we need to do.
I think that's a bit unhinged just because I feel like supporting Trump isn't the same thing as actively having power to do it. But I would say that, look, Wick, again, and I asked the same question to Prime Case and Wick, what do we do to prevent like this happening again? It seems like absent some kind of atonement, which means if it's
didn't you hear they lost if they lose the election?
They consistently lose.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Well, that's my point.
They gotta pull out. They gotta pull out, guys.
Well, wait, if they lose the election, what do we do then to hold them to it? Do we show, hey, look, you lost, and that's it? That's all we do? We say, haha, you lost, and that'll show them to never do it again?
Remember when Trump lost the first time and then they stopped?
You remember?
Yeah, we had January 6th. Wait, this is so true. We had January 6th. We win the election.
Getting it over and over and over again, and how that obviously worked, and they never held power again. Wait, that didn't happen.
Can I ask a question?
So we just standing with our dick in our hand?
You are advocating for doing what led to Trump getting elected in 2024 all over again, and thinking, oh, somehow we're going to have
the mistake is not doing fast enough.
I appreciate the internal critique. You can't replace something with nothing, Wick. Give me something else to do then, because I'm not going to sit there with nothing. You're telling me to not do this thing. Okay, great. Instead, I wag my finger at them and say, well, you know what? We're just going to keep winning elections.
From office, what I'm advocating for is for us to be fucking normal, and then suddenly
Wait, what could Biden have done differently? Wait, what could Biden have done differently? 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 That he wasn't normal enough.
Well, first of all, Biden couldn't have dropped out. Like, if he had stayed in, I think we would have won. But
wait, this genocide thing is insane. What law did Biden break? What law did Biden break?
Biden didn't break any laws.
No, I'm asking prime case because he brought the genocide thing. What law did Biden break?
Don't you dare fucking bring this back to this fucking bullshit again. Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay, if you don't want to do it, we don't have to do it. We don't what law Biden broke.
Any which way you asked
okay,
me.
We won't do that. Right? We won't do it then. It's fine. I don't want to. I don't want to do something.
I know. Sorry, shut up, glasses guy. Before you asked me previously, hey, like, like you were asking me like, do I agree with Wick basically? Like, am I against something? You asked me something previously.
I think I asked you probably the same question I asked Connor about like, what do we do to prevent this from happening again? Which is how we got to this whole conversation.
Okay, yeah. So like I'm saying, I am for accountability for our elected officials. Absolutely. My disagreement with Destiny purely is within scale, right? Not that we shouldn't hold elected officials accountable. I'm saying I want to hold more, right? But I'm talking about more of the C-suite of our political class, right? I'm talking about the president, and I'm talking about
I don't fully disagree.
Every single one of these people are using Trump to push their own insane agendas. Like, why are we in 2025 talking about putting like the what is it called, the Bible thing in the classrooms? Why are we putting Bibles in classrooms?
Ten Commandments.
Yeah, there you go. 10 Commandments.
Yeah, that's not new.
Why are we putting
this
the 10 Commandments?
They've been doing for all my fucking.
It doesn't matter. They're still they're using this opportunity to pass insane laws. Like we just saw what the Department of Education saying that like being a nursing student is no longer like a valid degree. Like what is like why are we at this point?
Wait,
like how did we get here?
You're bringing up a good point too, in that these people are abusing their positions, and yes, we're going to hold them to account as elected officials, get them out of there. But also, we should hold them to account as citizens and as people who are clearly breaking the law and clearly acting in a way against what their responsibilities are. If you are a lawyer, if you're a fiduciary of people, you can be held accountable for not just breaking that fiduciary duty, but doing crimes beyond that. And that's what we're seeing here. These people
okay,
are.
Well,
elected,
let me ask you directly.
Let
me ask you, Capta. Let me ask you directly.
Yeah, ask him
Do you
directly.
think that if a lawyer comes on a YouTube channel, right, or starts a YouTube channel and advocates that Trump is breaking no laws, he's doing fine, he's not going against the courts, do you think anything should happen? How should they be held accountable?
If he defends Trump, yeah, he should get out of there.
They should be prevented from holding office.
So
they should be prevented from holding
a lawyer
public office.
Who comes on and starts let's just call him.
I don't know. I don't agree with that. I'm saying if he
Ryan
actively defends Trump in court.
Mulally, right, comes on and starts a YouTube channel, you would advocate for his disbarment?
Wait, which guy?
I never said that. I would not advocate for their disbarment.
Who? Which one?
I also would. Brian Mulally.
Absolutely, 1,000,000,000,000%.
I know that guy.
Oh my God, 1,000 million trillion quadrillion percent. Oh my God, so much.
No.
Wait. Can I ask you a question?
Disbarment is. I would advocate for him to not hold a public office. That's fine with me.
Okay, so hold on. You
is a
would ban
different
him
matter.
from running for office because he went and he defended Trump on some of these things that you think he shouldn't be defended.
Look, this is my starting position. If you want to negotiate down lower at some point, that's fine. But I'm starting with MAGA supporter out. All right, that's where we're at. And then you know what? If we need to see what the political will is at in the country to see what we can get done, that's fine. But I'm starting at the strongest possible position.
Dude. You understand?
Wait. Can I ask you a question?
It's not insane.
They're calling for the death of my representatives.
Wait.
The president is calling for the death of my representative.
True.
Okay.
The president is.
The guy in charge of the government is calling for the death of my representative, and it's insane.
You think that everybody that supports him in Congress calling for the death of people should be held accountable? How stupid are you? Oh my God.
In question. Okay, you said just be normal. Biden was normal, and Biden won after Trump's whole thing in the first term, and after January 6th, we've had Biden. What did Trump suffer from that? He came right back into office. What does being normal get us? Because Trump came back after doing the worst thing in his political career.
Hold on, you keep this is such a fucking dishonest thing to say, as if there was no other circumstances that were happening during the 2024 election which made it an outlier. There wasn't massive inflation where every single incumbency across the world lost. You weren't asking like.
No, I agree with you. Why we lost?
So they'll be held accountable as long as there's no inflation. I hope there's not any inflation because then there's no accountability.
Our major candidate, as if like it was just a normal election and Trump won because they were doing normal things. What are you on about? There was
No,
nothing
okay.
wrong-
So wait, it's okay for insurrectionists to be voted back in because there's inflation. Is that
Why do
your
you think-
argument?
That is his argument.
Okay,
Yep.
it's not okay.
It is.
But my
Well, that's
whole
why
argument
we're
is that
advocating
your
for what we should do
argument
to stop
here,
this happening in
what
the
you're advocating
future.
for is going to lose, and I don't want to lose. I want to win. And you can be all high and mighty. I don't know where are you from, India? I don't.
We're
care,
not being
right?
high and mighty.
Like,
We're saying
not
hold them
America,
to the standard
right?
that they've
And you don't
set.
have to suffer the consequences that we do.
That seemed pretty
Okay?
racist.
Well, yeah, if we want to win,
He's got a storm in the name.
if we want to
Hey,
win,
Storm,
if we
are you
want to
from
win,
India?
if we
Is
want to
that where you're
win,
from?
if we want to win, shouldn't we copy the people who are winning?
Yeah,
Shouldn't we copy their
yeah.
strategy?
In London, I
Hey,
live
they're
in
not
India. I
winning,
am Indian,
though.
though.
They
Yeah.
have the lowest approval rating.
You're
I
Indian,
think
but are
I've ever
you?
seen.
Like, are
They
you
won
Indian?
the
You're
second
one-
election.
I'm
Where
an
you-
American. I'm an
Okay,
American.
but wait,
citizen.
Wick, you said
You're
we need to be
American.
normal. Do you think that Kamala Harris's campaign was not overwhelmingly normal? They
No,
they were
it was not. You know
don't think
why? It's because
why?
she
She
wasn't
was a
the
black woman?
candidate initially. We pushed out that candidate,
Oh my god!
and then we got her in 3 months
okay.
before
So
the election.
normal-
There was
Wait,
nothing
So
wait,
inflation
wait.
can
So-
fuck you.
Does it not
an
count as her
abnormal,
being the candidate?
no,
Like being the VP?
abnormal appointment process is
Like-
doesn't count. Like basically, if anything goes wrong, so not only does it have to be
Yeah.
that they have to be super normal, there can't be any like irregularities. Also, by the way,
Wick-
imagine how the
Wick,
rest of the
you kinda-
world looks at the United States. If anything is going wrong in the United States, they're gonna elect a fucking schizo to office. It's like dealing with a drunk cop at a traffic stop. If you make one
Wait,
wrong
also-
fucking move, the guy's gonna execute you. Are you crazy, Wick?
It's not a
Also,
one
Wick kinda
fucking
deflected from my
wrong
original
move or
point.
one
Wick,
little
Wick.
inconsistency. These were major issues.
So I agree,
Wick,
Wick. My point is nothing held Trump accountable. My point is, despite doing January 6th and losing because of his handling of COVID and all that, nothing held him accountable because he still managed to come back under the right conditions. My point is, he shouldn't be able to come back with the right conditions. Like, he was an
My argument here
insurrectionist,
is
a
that
traitor.
your advocacy creates the conditions of which we
I'm
have
not as
another
extreme
Trump.
as Destiny. I don't know what you mean by my advocacy. I think that Trump
Okay,
and
Wick,
the like
Wick, listen to
cabinet
me.
and
So Wick, you're acting like this hasn't been done before, right? But it has been done before because 1954,
Yep,
they passed
54.
the Communist Control Act.
Yep.
You cannot be a member of the Communist Party of the USA.
Famously,
They-
communism died in America.
wait. Also,
Are they
after the
currently
Civil
controlling
War,
the government,
after the
Wick?
Civil War, should we have barred
Hold
people from
on.
office or no?
Say it one more time. One.
After the Civil War, should we have barred people from office or no? Because that'll just mean the South will get even more mad at us.
Hold on. We're talking about after a civil war versus after this. These are not the same thing.
But my point is the principle stands that the idea
The
that we
principle does
shouldn't
not
hold people
stand. The
accountable for
context changes
doing
how
stuff that
effective
insurrects the
people-
government is insane.
The
Sorry,
context of the event changes how effective a punishment accountability is. Correct?
Sorry,
Reconstruction was one of the most unpopular things in the South and risked alienating the South further and leading to a further conflict. The only reason it didn't is because the South was fractured. Ideally,
Hold on,
we'd
hold
be
on.
coming out of a
Hold on.
political election where the Republican Party is
Also,
fractured.
to be
guy,
clear,
okay.
the other reason it didn't is
Hold on,
because
hold on,
we stopped
hold on.
doing
Red
it
shirt guy.
because it was too burdensome on
Are
the
you-
South,
Oh,
and the
yeah,
South
we stopped
bitched and
doing
would have
it.
ran off.
red shirt guy. Are you advocating for banning the Republican Party?
Cover
Is
your,
that what
cover your
you're
mouse
talking
over his
about?
name, over his face, and it'll show you his
By the way, you
name.
can call me.
Yeah,
Ideally,
whatever,
just call me
I don't care.
Rich. Just
Hey,
call me
red
Rich.
shirt guy.
Just call me
I'll call him
Rich.
red shirt guy. So, hey,
Who is this
are you
guy?
advocating for banning the Republican Party? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, but I would be banning. I would be
The
advocating.
MAGA
For,
wing.
I'm
No,
similar to you, Prime.
You're not
Prime.
red
I'm
shirt guy. You're not red
Prime.
shirt guy.
Technically, he is. Technically, he is. But
He is
also,
wearing a
I'm.
red shirt.
Got
I'm-
'em.
I'm
I
advocating. What I'm advocating
I am
for
in
is
favor
Not
of
from-
banning
not
the
from
MAGA
some
wing of
side.
the Republican Party. Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
advocating more for like.
Republican Party.
So, Prime.
But the MAGA
Prime,
wing.
Prime.
Alright, so what I need to do is-
I'm asking for his opinion. That's person.
The
Oh,
MAGA
sorry, there
wing
you
of the Republican
I
Party.
think
Yes.
you're Stonewolf. I think you're great. I like you a lot. But so you're banning
Thank
the
you.
Republican Party. Do you
No.
think that will
The MAGA
lead
wing of the
to-
Republican Party. Fuck. For the
just
10th
the
time.
just the MAGA wing of it? That's the
yes.
Republican Party. There is no other.
No,
there's
it's not.
barely anything else that like
You know what?
there's like
Whatever percentage it happens to be,
I-
get rid of them.
okay, so just banning anyone and anyone who expresses anything MAGA-like in the future, you would say you're ineligible for office. Is that you think that's a good state of affairs?
MAGA like in the future. What are we talking about?
No,
I have
like,
a
you-
great opinion on this. We should treat them like Nazis. Push them down in history. Anytime anyone asks you about your historical family lineage, you say, "Oh, I don't know, we were German." And when they look at you and ask you if you were a Nazi, you just say, "Oh, I don't know." We should treat MAGA like
Yeah.
that, right? Anytime someone says, am I MAGA?" We should all look the other way and try to
okay,
brush
so
it
are
away
you
under
saying-
the.
So, but hold on. It's one thing to not elect them, right? Like fuck MAGA. I don't want to elect them in office. They're awful, right? But should we have political tests to say that this person agrees with the MAGA movement, right? The historical MAGA movement, and so they're
Oh, yeah.
ineligible to run for office.
Bring McCarthy as a
We're
guy.
going to see like the modern.
I'll answer directly. So if let's say someone is running for office and someone digs up their 10-year-old tweets and it turns out they were pro-MAGA back in the day and now they're like, listen, I'm not pro-MAGA anymore. All right, all you have to do is publicly piss on a picture of Trump and you can run again. All right, that's the threshold to come back.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we hold people accountable.
Okay, Wick,
Guys,
Wick,
I'm gonna.
Wick, let me just do a quick olive branch to you. Would you accept?
Before you do, okay, I gotta use the restroom right back. I'll be right back.
Oh,
Gotcha.
I'm back in a sec too, actually. BRB.
he ran.
Yeah. So
Wait.
but
Is it true?
Destiny-
Wait, Jay, just real quick. Weren't they shipping in like hundreds of thousands of pounds of concrete and stuff into the Gaza Strip? Why couldn't they make any bomb shelters? What was going on with that?
I don't know if they were shipping. I know that.
How'd they build the tunnels? How'd they build the tunnels?
Yeah, how'd they build those tunnels?
Well, a lot of the tunnels were pre-built. They weren't.
Pre-built? Who built them?
With what
How do you
material?
Yeah,
build
actually,
a
With what material?
Wait,
Wait,
how do you-
a lot of the tunnels
Yeah.
were pre-built. Wait,
Israel
who?
did.
Oh,
Israel went and
They did.
They sunk
pre-built.
holes down
They
there?
literally
Like,
did.
what happened?
Israel went and pre-built all those
Sorry,
tunnels.
what are you talking about? Sorry, what? Sorry, Israel. Some of those tunnels were pre-built.
When you
They weren't
say
Hamas built
some
all
of those tunnels,
In any
are you
case-
referring to the
but hold
single
on,
set of
wait,
tunnels underneath
I-
Al Shifa Hospital that you're conflating with every single tunnel that's been
I'm
built
not
in that
talking
entire
about-
Gaza
I'm
Strip?
saying
The one you're
tunnels
talking
were
about the one.
pre-built.
I know exactly the story because lefties
I'm
love
not
to hog
talking
that
about the one.
story.
There are other tunnels underneath Gaza, but in any case.
Oh,
right?
so how many?
So,
What?
like,
I'm just curious. What percentage of them were built by
I
Israel?
have fucking
If you had to guess
no
the
idea.
difference, if you
I
said
didn't
2%
say
or
that-
90%, what do you think it's closer to? 2% or 90%?
I didn't say they were all. I didn't say they were all.
Yeah, I'm just curious. So where? So I'm just trying to ballpark. Do you think 2% or 90%?
I have no fucking clue.
Oh,
I
okay.
have no fucking clue. Right?
Okay.
In any case, right? The thing that was presented
Mhm.
is that they have all these tunnels, right? Let's say there's a whole beehive of tunnels that they somehow built, right?
Mhm,
You know, they built all this beehive of
Yep.
tunnels. Is the solution here to put the entire Gaza population underneath while they're
No, we're saying
bombing?
they should have
That's
built bomb shelters instead of tunnels. They
Yeah.
should have built bomb shelters
Just like a
instead of
couple,
tunnels.
just a few.
Like it's actually insane. Wait,
The
sorry,
shelters-
it's actually insane.
the tunnels act like bomb shelters any which way, right?
Well,
Like,
they don't
They're
use
not
them
allowed
as
in
bomb
tunnels.
shelters.
Wait. I'm so
But
curious.
they
Why
can't
weren't there
put
any
the
civilians in the?
entire
Why weren't there
population-
civilians in the tunnels
They can't
then?
put the entire population under there.
That
Don't
is
even try
bad.
that. Like, obviously, can't put the entire
trouble.
population under
Oh
there.
wait, how much of the
Yeah,
population?
and-
How much of the population was allowed to go
How
under the
many
tunnels
years did we
then?
get? Like, is this supposed to be? Is this
I'm
supposed to be a
sorry.
solution?
Anybody have any idea?
No, Stormwolf. Is that a solution? That you would put the entire population under there, right? Or maybe
I would build bomb
how
shelter.
many people? You tell me. No, tell me, huh? Oh, okay,
I'm not saying
sure,
I'm saying they
sure.
should
No,
build
okay,
tunnels.
no, I'll get you. No worries. I'll go.
Wick,
with
you
right?
did
Hey,
this by going to the
how
bathroom,
many-
by the way.
How many bomb shelters, right?
Immediately
the
I
entire
leave and they
population?
do this. Wow.
At least one.
They-
No,
Yeah,
I
Let's
would
start
give
with.
them
How about
at
we
least
start with
one.
one and we work? Let's start with one and we'll go from there.
Whatever. But, like, what does that mean, hon? Does a bomb shelter?
Well,
stop
okay, can I
you-
explain? Wait, Prime
stop
Kids,
an
can
invading
I
army?
just explain? There is no, so to be clear, the law of like why you, there's no the reason why you're supposed to build bomb shelters, which you are if you're in a humanitarian crisis like this, or not in a war like this, is because you want to avoid human shields, because technically speaking, international law is supposed to balance a country's ability to do warfare and a protection of civilians. That's why Hamas has the responsibility for why civilians are getting bombed, because they made no effort to protect their civilians. If Hamas was
No,
able to
it's
get away
ridiculous.
with no
That is-
responsibility
Yeah.
for protecting their
I-
civilians,
that is
Israel
I
will be
should've
unable
held
to
it.
conduct
There's-
warfare.
Piss in that
No,
cranberry juice
the
bottle.
attacker has responsibilities. No, it doesn't
Well-
matter if they're all in fucking huts.
The defender-
right?
the
If they're
defender has
literally
responsibility
all
too. The defender-
all huts,
wait,
that doesn't
the
mean you
defen-
can do
wait,
anything to them.
I'm sorry,
Wait, hold on, wait. The defender has a responsibility too. You acknowledge it. It's a war crime to allow your own civilian population to die and provide no cover for them. That is a war crime as well. Equally as much as attacking a population, you have an obligation to your civilian
I think
population.
it's, and by the way, I think
Hold on.
Israel wouldn't be responsible if a country fails to do it. The attacker isn't responsible if a country fails.
Stop for a second. Hold on. Destiny, even that's the case, right?
Mhm.
You would say, okay, I'll take exactly what you said.
Cool.
Then Hamas would have committed a war crime,
Okay.
but then Israel would have done the war crime of bombing the civilians too. Correct?
Nope.
Right?
Bombing
Because
civilians
the war
doesn't
Oh my God, are we back
necessarily.
on this
Bombing
shit?
civilians
Correct.
doesn't necessarily constitute a war
Correct.
crime. You have to
Okay.
prove. You have to prove that the
Yeah,
person
but-
was intentionally
No,
targeting
see-
civilians with the goal of killing
There's a
civilians, or they were
solution.
not doing a proportionality assessment
wait,
to make sure
wait,
that they
I'm sorry,
weren't
you-
killing
I-
civilians while they
someone-
were targeting
I-
military
someone-
targets.
Okay.
Someone needs to go to
care about
Hamas.
Israel Palestine right now. Okay,
They
I want to
asked
give the
me.
mic to
come on.
Kafka, who had some questions.
Yeah,
for me or
Kafka.
whatever.
Okay. First, if someone just go and tell Hamas they could build the bomb shelters above the tunnels, the people would still be human shields, and the bomb shelters would be there. So everybody wins if they did that. But Wick, I'm going to extend an olive branch to you. What if we only ban the MAGA wing of the Republican Party for 10 years from office? What about that? What if we just say, hey,
Look.
we're 10 years, let those old fuckers die off, Get rid of the older MAGA people at the very least. Give us 10 years
It's
to
the younger
to
ones
fix
that are
things
the
up.
problem.
Well, sure, but we're still
frankly.
keeping it on for 10 years. We fix the system so when they come in, you know,
And I'll tell you what.
not even that. You wouldn't do that.
No,
definitely
I am
not.
okay with limited targeted
I don't want it either.
prosecution of Trump, of maybe Vance, maybe Hegseth, maybe a couple.
Maybe
of people.
Hegseth?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Hegseth,
That's
right?
insane.
Maybe.
Hegseth deserves
Right?
it.
We'd have to investigate to find out, right? I assume.
No.
I don't know.
No.
I saw that signal
Do you
chat.
think we
I don't know how
should
much more investigation we need.
Hegseth? We should just charge him with whatever.
Yeah, he's guilty.
Yes, there's enough
Did it.
right now in the record
Okay,
to charge
well,
Hegseth
we'll
with
charge him.
crimes. Yeah.
He did it.
Holy
I mean, we can
beans.
investigate him for more, but I mean, we've already got enough, in my opinion.
Do you know? Do you actually know that the DoD has to like implicitly
DOW?
agree with Sorry, my bad. The DOW has to implicitly agree with every single one of his memorandums without. They have to, or else that they lose their job.
Yeah,
Right?
He's been
Every single
purging
one of his
so many top
memorandums.
staff.
Yeah, I think that's
So many black
retarded. I don't
men,
think
black
that's
women,
illegal.
white women, other.
No, it's not. It's not illegal, but
It's
it's
not illegal,
absolutely
so-
insane.
Well, I think
It's
it
not
is
illegal, but it's absolutely insane. He's
insane.
complicit.
It's
He's
incompetent.
absolutely complicit.
It's
to
malicious.
Trump.
I don't think it's chargeable. I don't think this is one of those things we can charge them with.
I
Let's
think being
make it something we
complicit
can
to Trump
charge
is
him with.
enough. I think it's conspiracy. I think it's racketeering, murder. It doesn't matter. It's everything. It's every single one of them. He's complicit to Trump. Just as I think that Kristi Noem should be charged with every single human rights violation that came
on,
out of ICE.
Wait, do you think it's a crime that they killed those people off the coast of Venezuela? Do you think that was a crime?
Probably.
Do you think Hegseth
absolutely.
at all could be implicated in that crime?
Probably, but we'd have to investigate it because one of the problems with it is they're not giving us any. Hold on. Well, hold on. Stop. One of the problems is neither I nor you know whether or not it was legal because they refuse to release their reasoning and the evidence. So we'd have to look.
Well, okay, Wick. How about things they've already investigated then? So here.
I think it's okay to reopen those investigations that they already have on Trump and some of those other people. I think that's okay to do, but that's
so in
not.
2028.
what has been advocated for tonight.
Let's say Blue Wave 2028. Should whoever it is that wins, bring
reopen
Trump
all
back
the
into court for all
investigations
those
against
old
Trump.
cases
I'm okay with
in
that.
2020?
I do it with my blessing. Hoorah!
But
right?
are you sure that's not going to make the Republicans feel worse and galvanize them more against you and all that shit?
Okay,
Oh
not
shit! It
to
might
the
galvanize
level
them.
banning 75% of them from office would.
Well, I don't know. They got really mad. Didn't you say that part of the reason why Trump won was because of the New York convictions the first time? Wouldn't convict them of even more crimes?
it
Yeah. So why
was.
so why should we convict them of even more crimes?
Yeah. Okay, because
And then the
again,
fake
context
fake
changes,
assassination.
circumstances change as we go, and what
Fake
Trump is
assassination.
doing right now, and the things that he is engaging right now, has made him far less popular. And so I think it's okay.
Oh
to
wait, so we
charge
can
him
only charge crimes
now.
based on how popular they are. Oh.
Hold on. When you talk about like what you could actually do, kind of yes.
Imagine
Kind
if
of, yeah.
imagine
Wait,
if Hitler
wait,
had your
didn't Wick
limitations.
make
He
the
would have never
argument
been
earlier?
the great leader of Germany that he was if he
Wait,
had
wait.
all the same constraints that you're thinking of right now. You're such
And
a
he
cuck.
voted on how to off
Also,
himself.
didn't
okay?
Wick make the argument
Hitler
earlier about how
decided what to do with
prosecuting
Hitler.
people? Wait, Wick, didn't you make the argument earlier about how prosecuting Trump was what led to his popularity? So it doesn't matter if it's
That's what I
unpopular
just-
because it'll just make him more
Hold on,
popular.
no. You're doing this game, right? Where you aren't understanding the context of things.
Yeah, the
Yes,
context.
different actions or the same action taken at different periods of time can lead to different results. If I jumped 3 feet now, I would just hit the wall. That'd be fine. But if I jumped 3 feet and there was a cliff, I would fucking die. You understand how different contexts can make the same action have different
Sure.
results. Yes, this is
But what's the
grade
difference
A,
here?
like
What's the
grade
difference
A
here then?
stuff.
Wait,
The
don't just use the
different
analogy. Explain how it's
context-
actually different.
Yeah, what's the difference?
Okay, the difference is the political realities on the ground. When Trump was in office in when Biden was in office, and everything was going to shit. We had all sorts of problems, right? And that was mostly due to COVID and the inflation and
Wait,
things like that. And
this
even
is-
though we did a lot of good recovery for that, right? We could not effectively use our political will because the people weren't behind us. And so trying in that environment to prosecute Trump was not viable. It didn't work.
Aren't
If those
Democrats on all-time low
circumstances
in favorability?
change,
So what-
Except
then
the
it will.
They ran out
the
of time.
Republicans don't.
Few of
the-
them.
The Republicans don't exist in a world of the political reality on the ground. They do not exist in a political reality that we can say, guys, we got to look at what's really going on right now. No, instead we have to look at whatever schizophrenic like shit they're believing from their news media and their top-down stuff. That's what we have to apparently deal with and like kind of read the bones over there to make sure we're not going to set them off too much. How about instead of that, we hold the people accountable, have an actual system of law that we implement without worrying about what half of the insane country that we have are going to act and actually hold people accountable. Why don't we do that?
How do we know if we don't try? We got to try.
Why wouldn't it work if you actually get the guilty verdicts and they go to jail?
Yeah.
That's the logic Tank uses for why we should try left-wing populism.
Why wouldn't it
though,
work?
right?
Well, of course.
Well, because we've seen that tried and it doesn't work.
Yes, obviously.
True.
You're correct.
True.
You're correct, Dev. If it worked and they go to jail and get convicted, it would work. Yes, but my argument is
we shouldn't even try.
Again, if you try to do that,
The lesson learned is never try.
To bar them from ever holding office again, you are not going to win. And in fact, what you're going to do is you're going to feed an insurgent movement and showcase to the public that's going to think you're insane, right?
Or crush them
Wow,
well.
these guys are just as insane.
Wait, can I ask a big question? Wait, how do we make it so that there are more of you in the conservative movement? How can we get that to happen? How can we make it? No, but I'm asking, how do we get it so that when conservatives are thinking about doing
You all know what time it is. Time for some mahjong. Time for me to beat some mahjong. I always win. Let's do this. No hints. Nine open matches. 7 open matches. No hints. Five minutes left. 6 open matches left. What am I missing? Two open matches. I won. Well, that's how you do it, boy. That's how you beat Mahjong. I beat it fair and square, like I always do. And, well, was it a good stream or what? I dare say it was. That was Mahjong. was a stream. Y'all come back tomorrow night for some more. We're gonna do it all over again. Come on back now, you hear?